Oh, buddies, everybody, how are you? What's going on? It's another beautiful Monday, and you know what that means. It's a little early in the day. It's time to get that beacon of positive light shining bright in the sea of dark and haste that is the Star Wars fandom. We are here. I have so many things going on here. You don't even know. We're going to do some more fun shit tonight. That's going to be a little weird, but why don't you come on in? Come on in. Come on. All right. So, so we're going to talk about a little bit of Acolyte. We're going to talk a little bit about some other stuff that's going on. There's going to be some friends coming to join the party, and we're just going to try to be entertaining. We're going to try to have a good time. Like I said, I got another element today that I'm adding in that's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be kind of ridiculous, and I hope you guys like it because everything ridiculous for me is a really good time. I don't know if you knew that, but it is. So so we're gonna talk about some stuff. We're gonna break down a couple episodes of Acolyte. We weren't here last week because last Monday we were doing a show with our buddy Chad the Bird. If you haven't checked him out, Chad the Bird at all of the socials. But I recommend you go and check him out because he knows his Star Wars and he's funny as hell. Last Monday we didn't get to break down the previous week. So there's 2 episodes we can kind of go through if you guys want to. We can kind of break some stuff down. I saw some things in a couple of the episodes as I rewatched some things, getting ready for tonight's stream, doing some homework for some other things. So there's a lot going on the table tonight. I hope you're ready to enjoy another manic Monday, another crazy Monday in the fandom where everybody has their own interpretations of things. But without further, we're going to go ahead and bring in, some friends as they pop in. You know, the usual suspects are lined up. So we're going to start with the premiere, the basically the premiere of tonight, the creme de la creme of the evening, because he's been gone busy making real time stuff, and I say like real time stuff, people, but it's there's a lot going on, and we're glad to have him here. So without further ado, we're gonna bring in our guy. We're gonna bring in Dan. Come on in, Dan, the man. Oh wait, where is he? His chime went off. Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Oh, there he is. There. Oh, okay. There he is. I thought we lost him. So
My God.
so what's up? What's up, dude? How are you? Here, we gotta switch sides. Hey, he's got some chicken.
Oh yeah,
You got
my classic routine. No Chipotle tonight, but we did get some Chinese, so we were just grabbing on some chicken wings, chicken fried rice, and shrimp. Now to my girl Deborah watching, you need to watch all 3 hours, motherfucker. I'm on now. She was texting me being like, "Oh my gosh, when is he gonna come on? Are you on now?" And she's being impatient watching you all the way from Los Angeles. So thank you for. And it's funny, she was texting me this as you were preparing to get me on. So hopefully, yeah, she's still on right now. She's watching Sporting, and that the film, the shows, and stuff have been going like all types of different directions. The trailer for Transformers just came out. By the way, she's texting me now. What the hell? But the girl, I am on live. For the love of God, I hope you are seeing this. Okay, stop.
It's all good, bro. It's all good.
Thank you. Let's see. Yes, the show. We are in need of a new investor because our old one couldn't answer basic film questions. So we need a new investor. If you have one, send it my way. But our goal basically is to shoot this. Keep a long story short, we're still gonna, work on the script, have it in the pipeline, ready to rock, ready to go. We're still gonna film it this, that, and the third. But we're also working on something else that's gonna give us some street cred. So because our goal when we do sell it, we don't want to just be like underlings. We want to like have creative control and be in the room. And to do that, we need, to have names. So we're working on some things that's going to make us attach names. We're working on there she is. We're working on a proof of concept that's going to film in this September. I'll be in New York, and it's like a lawyer detective thing going on. And it'll show them that we know how to balance action with like horror and sci-fi, and just show them that we know what we're doing. So we're going to work on that later this year. Some relatively cheap, just to get the foot going in. Yeah. When I get off of here, I'm actually going to work on some more outlines and just spend the summer really just hammering those projects in, working on those scripts and getting it going.
Yeah, I feel you. I got a project I'm working on now that I'm working on some story stuff
Right.
for.
Right.
So it's a grind to try to create
Yes.
something and not just comment on it, or not
Right.
just create narrative around it. To
Right.
actually create something is challenging,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore, I applaud anybody that's trying to create,
Mm-hmm.
instead of trying to break, other things down and so on and so forth. But yeah, I mean, I mean, it's funny because, what is it? Edison made, 100 versions of the light bulb until one worked, right?
Right.
Um, most business owners will tell you that they've learned more from failure than success, and that the greatest lessons come with failure, and what not to do, or who not to trust, or what have you. So the lessons that we learn along the way, through the journey, are a large part of the journey, especially when you're making, television, or you're making movies, or you're making anything like that. That's a big part of, failing and then succeeding your way up, or doing
Yeah.
smaller projects that feel, you know that aren't necessarily what you want to be doing right away, but sometimes you gotta earn your
Bro,
time and earn your stripes, and that's part of our business, from
you
stem
are
to stern.
speaking so much truth. Yes. Yes. That's what I'm feeling right now. It's
Oh,
like,
oh,
damn,
oh,
I'm gonna.
I heard him come in, but there he is. I knew he
I
was
didn't
gonna.
want to interrupt. You know how
No,
I
no,
am.
no, it's all right. You can let yourself in. I
What
mean,
up,
you have
dude?
access. You can let yourself in
Yeah,
whenever you want.
yeah.
You just don't have the fun, sound effect that I bring
Yeah,
you
no,
in
I
with.
hear you.
But you probably do, because you have a soundboard there, so you probably do. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to. I applaud people. Look, I have people in my community that probably make more money doing YouTube videos than they do in what we do for a living most of the time. So there's opportunity to be made out there if you're willing to go out and create. But most of and it's funny because I've watched today. I don't spend a lot of time on Twitter, so
Right.
I don't have here.
I
We're
love
gonna
Twitter.
I don't spend a lot of time on Twitter. I'm not saying that I don't. I'm not saying that I don't go on Twitter. I just don't spend an absorbent amount of time on Twitter. All right, so we're gonna
Good.
switch. We're gonna switch us up so that we angle right. Okay. So
Can I tell you my favorite thing I saw on Twitter today?
sure, because I'm gonna tell you my favorite thing I saw on Twitter today. I think this is gonna become a new segment of Mondays, is showing us. Everybody has to
Okay,
bring in
chat. I'm
homework.
gonna paint the picture. Okay, you have to try to mentally follow me with this
Okay.
one.
Okay.
There's a green screen set up, right? The guy is standing. He's standing over here in the lower right. Okay.
Okay.
He has a lightsaber, not
Oh,
ignited.
is this our
Not
medieval
ignited.
friend? Is this our medieval
Yes.
friend?
He's
Oh, dude,
wearing a
he's my
maroon
he's
tunic.
my favorite guy, dude, right now, and
It might be
he
last
might
year's
be
tunic. I'm not sure.
he might
It's a
beat Hawk
little,
2 right now, because
bro.
Hawk 2 is everywhere,
This
but
guy is frame by frame every swing. Like if Jackie
oh, I
is,
know.
and if this is Jackie and this homie swings here, he's like pausing it. What's he swinging at? She's not even standing there. I'm like, guys, if I ever get to that level, cancel me, please. Chat,
Well, okay, look,
cancel me if
here's
I
the
get
thing,
to
like,
that level, bro.
I can do
I can't.
I can
Every
enjoy
swing.
that same game, right? Like,
Oh
we as
my
Star
god.
Wars fans can enjoy
Do
that.
it for every fight, though. I hope he
No,
does it for
but
prequels,
okay,
for go back.
so so this
Uh,
guy is my favorite on YouTube right now, because he's getting a lot of praise
amazing.
from our friends that don't like
The Poe.
Star Wars, right? Or current Star Wars, Disney Star Wars, because they like their Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw this dude today, and I saw everybody giving him like all of this praise, and like all of this, like, yeah, you let him have it, like, go girl, right? Energy. And it really made me laugh a little bit, because I was um
Don't let me distract you.
no, you're fine.
Chat. He may have sent two different links. A thing by myself waiting for it to start.
To what? Where? Who? Why? What?
Did I lag out? Of course.
No, you're fine.
I got the link that nobody else was sitting in, so I was actually here on time, like really
Oh, that's
early, and I
hilarious.
didn't hit you up until after Matt was like, "I'll be there late if you're still going." I'm like, "Wait, they're going right now?"
Oh, that's hilarious.
Anyway,
that's awesome. So okay, so it, you know, I love me my Star Wars, right? And but like you could do the same thing, and I hate to do this. I really hate to do this, but we're gonna do. This guy is like my favorite right now. Where are you, my guy? Now watch. He's not gonna pop up in my feed, right? This is the time. This is what I this is what drives me nuts about.
You got to start saving them for later.
I do. I'm so
I
bad.
don't remember his name either.
I don't know his name. Chat, help us out.
Someone had reposted it, and they were like,
dude, it's been all over been all over Twitter.
Right.
It's hilarious. So,
Dan, have you seen it?
If you see it,
have
let
you
me
seen
know.
the medieval guy breaking down?
There you go.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Deborah's giving me a hard time. I'm kind of going back and forth with her. Shut up, Deborah. I'm on live. All right, go ahead. Golly. She'll be all right.
Well, just do the I'll find it.
Okay, yeah. So the big thing right now is I'm gonna call him Lightsaber Lou right now until I find out his real name and we see this. But it's definitely not. I definitely made that up. But you could do the same thing here. I'll just put this up. Let's do screen. Let's share this. Okay, so let's go.
Wait, no, I'm definitely the type. I commented. Hold on, let me go to my replies.
Okay, so I could say the same thing if you like. Where's my settings?
Yes, I found it.
Okay, good. Then you can pull it up also. Here's my settings. Can I put it? Those are audio only settings. Come on, can I drag this to like 50%? Can I drag this? Okay. Anyway, if you like frame by frame this shit too, like there's moments where like, you know, there's certain moments that I don't want to play that.
Yeah, I mean, in the book description of that fight, he was a blur. You know, like these Jedi didn't see him at all. He was moving so fast. And there's another instance where Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan use force speed to go down the hallway, and they explain that later on because everyone was like, that doesn't make any sense. Right. That's not real. Guys, it's Star Wars. It's not supposed to be real.
Well, and like he's complaining about like the lunges and the pokes and all that. And it's like, that was like a very Palpatine game, right? If you really were watching a lot of his fight with, you know, there's a lot of.
Are we going to try to break this down? Is that what we're...
Oh, dude, I am right now. As soon as I find the one thing I'm looking. Yeah. Here, okay. So
you found it?
Yeah.
We're talking about
no, but I think I found what I'm looking for. So like this.
I'll link it.
That's not it. There's a point where Palpatine like lunges and you see his dumb face and it's just like a stupid face. Like,
oh, I know what you mean. He's making this weird looking face.
Right, like this stuff right here.
I always thought that was off when he did the whole clown laugh. Yeah, that's
right here. Yeah,
where he's like, and I want
to
like this. Okay, you want to break it down? Like, what the shit is this? Like, his head would be gone, right? like your head would be gone on a plate, right? It's the Game of Thrones guys.
Stanley, it is. Yeah, I sent him the link.
Right, and so it's like this right here. Like, there's all these weird lunges in the prequels, and all this.
I sent you.
Did you send it to me in the
Shad? Yeah.
All right, hold on. Let me find them. Because this, I'm like I said, I'm not dogging him as much as I'm dogging the break.
It's a lot,
right? And so, this is, if anything, this gentleman is indicative of where we are in the fandom right now. I don't like bringing up other people's stuff in this regard, and so I preface this by saying that I'm using this as an example of where we are in the fandom, right? And so in this video, our friend is breaking down every
not aiming for the
motion
opponent.
Oh, he'll stop it enough for you.
Oh, I know he will, but I don't want to like put his voice up and stuff like that and like dog him. Right. So this is my favorite video on YouTube and Twitter right now. And it's this guy on a green screen and he's breaking down the fight and then he's like laughing at the choreography and it's like, okay, cool. Again, I've been enjoying this thoroughly, because he's obviously into Renaissance fairs, right?
Listen, to make a green screen disappear, those lights got to be super bright. He is sweating for multiple reasons
but
right now.
this is great content. He is everywhere, right? So if anything else, this is great content because he is everywhere right now. And you know, if it's like press, there's no such thing as bad press, and you know, clicks and views are important, and this is what we're doing.
I
And
mean,
and
it's at 1.9 milli, so
is it?
yeah.
Is that what it's? See, that's what I'm saying.
On Twitter, yeah.
Well, even still, if it's that on Twitter, let's
Yeah.
give it 100,000 on YouTube.
Definitely got the numbers, that's for sure. Good lord.
My point being is he's doing something right. Okay, like I'm not getting 1.9 million views on Twitter. I'm not getting 1.9 million views anywhere.
But, you know, is it right? I don't
So-
know.
So he's doing something right in the fact that he's getting viewership and he's getting all of these people to repost his stuff. If that's the game, then he is playing at a better level than I am.
Oh, Shad.
Right. And then
How far you fallen?
and then right, like his commentary, I recommend going and watching it. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not
Flashy ad
I'm not-
Obi-Wan versus
I'm not gonna pull apart his video. I'm just giving you an illustration of this is my favorite video on Twitter and YouTube right now. I'm just saying, if this guy, I don't know. Again, I can't comment. I don't know the seriousness of it. I don't know the level at which he is a swordsman, right? I can't sit
Bro,
here.
he's like Uncle Rico. He's dead serious. I'm dead serious.
So I cannot sit here and say, you know, this guy's a this or that. I'm not gonna say that. What I'm gonna say is go watch it, develop, just like I say for every other video and every other show and every other thing. Go watch it yourself, develop your own impression of what you want to see.
You know, this is the Last Jedi's fault, though, right? That throne room fight scene started the whole goddamn thing. They've been breaking that down for 7 years.
I mean,
there you go, bringing in the TLJ. Well, why you got to bring that back? Huh?
I mean,
Bro,
go all the way.
That fight scene, dude, it is the most, like, people love it, people hate it. Like, people hate it. People love it. It's like the most insane.
That's
where it all started. The breakdowns of the choreography.
Well, and like I said, look,
all right, Twitter is just a mad trigger fest. What?
it's just a mad trigger fest. It's you know, it is what it is. It's, you know, I describe and I've been told that this could be considered just as negative in a way as anything else, but the personal outrage hunters is what I call them. They're I don't call them grifters anymore, because there's a difference between a true grifter and personal outrage hunters and the view getters and things like that. So for me, it's not, I can't judge that person's art form because I am not a swordsman currently. So if he is a legit Renaissance fair knight and he goes and like does sword training and stuff like that on the weekends, and he's like a legit swordsman, I applaud him for putting himself out there to be either applauded or scrutinized by the masses on Twitter, because Twitter is ruthless. But getting 1.9 million impressions is pretty good either way. So like I said, go watch it, develop your own opinion, but regardless of what you think, he's doing something right because he's getting views.
Yeah.
But that's my favorite thing on Twitter today.
Yeah.
On Twitter this week, that's probably my favorite thing on Twitter this week.
Yeah, it triggered me.
It was fantastic. He is fun. I can't even tell you. So, yeah. So you guys, Dan, we haven't heard from you in a while. You've been busy doing. What are your thoughts currently? Have you been watching The Acolyte?
Hold on. No, I've actually been staying away from The Acolyte like it's a plague. So it's funny, you caught me at a time where not only have I been busy, but I've also been intentionally staying away from, like, because I didn't watch none of the Bad Batch, didn't watch except for the damn, what is that girl's name? The chick, Saj Ventress episode, and I've been keeping up with this. Like, I know who Quamir is, and I know Carrie Ann Moss is the Jedi that dies. Like, I've been hearing about it, but I'm just don't have it in me to like give a shit about Star Wars stories that I just honestly don't care about anymore. I'm just done hate watching and tuning in to stuff I don't really have to. So unless it's like I'm waiting on the KOTOR remake, Star Wars Eclipse, whatever is going on with Luke, because now I'm hearing that Luke is coming back in multiple stuff, and they're trying to, even though we've heard this before when Shamook was doing it, but now it's like an actual, like, no, Luke will be the star in Heir of the Empire. He's going to be in Ahsoka season 2 allegedly, and he'll be in he's the one that's going to fight Abeloth, but they're saying Ahsoka is going to take her. I don't know, but I'm hearing Luke's back, and if Sebastian is saying great,
But why is this
but
a surprise?
it's a surprise because I thought we were going to deal with Rey and like her shit. And
We are
they,
later. The movies are coming out in their own sequence. So this is the Old Republic style, the High Republic era stuff, and hopefully and multiple seasons. And then you have the Andor stuff that's that's beginning of the Empire or mid Empire, whatever. And then you're going to get the Rey stuff from that other director that everybody hates. And that's going to be the Rey movie, which is going to come after, which from what I understand is coming after Dave's stuff.
Yeah. So essentially, it's like all these projects I'm hearing don't have Luke's name on it. It's different characters with different
I'm
stuff.
really
So
worried about this Grogu Mando, whatever the hell.
And I wasn't going to tune into that because I disliked the ending of season 3 so much. I was going to give that shit a pass. Now, if Luke's going to be in it, sure, I'll watch. But I'm not really trying to watch another Mando and Grogu adventure. I'm just not.
But for me, the Luke thing is almost a given, right? Like, you wouldn't put him in the season finale of the Mando season 2 if you weren't going to do more with him. And even if that was going to be a one-off, one and done, you wouldn't double down on a 6, right? You wouldn't double down on a 6 and go in and not use Luke and Ahsoka, right? So they double down using Luke and Ahsoka, and then you have the season 3 of Luke also, right? So you've used Luke back to back to back, building his arc in the shadows because no one knows where he is or what he's doing except for this small group of Jedi, right? This small group of people that know where Luke is. So they're building Luke's arc in the shadows. But the entire time I had no delusions that Luke was, number one, not going to be in the big Mando movie that Dave is doing. Number two, I fully expect them to use him in more of Ahsoka because people want to see that. I can't do the gesture I want to do right now, but the Luke and Anakin father son, right? So all of this stuff, right? They're gonna give you in time here using Luke and obviously using Hayden because Hayden's back. Right. In both of these shows or series or however they're going to present this, it was always in the cards for me that Luke was 100% going to be continuing in this series, and no doubt the one dealing with Abeloth. If they bring Abeloth to fruition, that was never a doubt in my mind. And further, the fact that Ahsoka may or may not be the one that finishes her or locks her away is absolutely a full circle and a good way to extinguish her before the sequels. Because then she, as the daughter incarnate, has done what the daughter needed to do before and helped trap Abeloth, right? So I think there's a lot of connections in this we're going to see in the Ahsoka show. We're going to see in the furthering of the Luke story. A lot of this is going to come through past, present, and future. I think because Abeloth is a timeless, endless enemy, we could potentially see some of the beginnings of the rumors of Abeloth in the High Republic, right? So there's just a lot of room, and I fully expected Luke to be involved because you wouldn't use him
I think it's smart to keep her out in another galaxy too, if it really is going to
It's
be
like
an
using
Abeloth.
food 3 ways.
That's
You wouldn't
crazy.
use it 3 ways in a row if you weren't planning on it starring for the future, right? Like it's just easy to serve him up because you've been building his little backstory of him building his temple, putting that story, connecting that Snoke comic book era story to the temple he's building, to potentially getting Ben Solo. Like they're leading this arc forward. Where they put us in that timeline is going to be more important. Do we get a young Ben Solo? Do we get a young, the beginning of Snoke and that whole argument, and that, or is that later after Abeloth has been defeated, because we haven't seen young Ben Solo yet from the Leia and Han perspective. So there's still a lot of questions on where they're going to drop us in this story. I think it was Matt Cave the other day, maybe it was Sheev, but somebody mentioned the other day that they do better when they drop us in the middle of a story and then catch us up, right? So similar to the way that they did the original trilogy, they dropped us in the middle of the story and then George went back and filled it in and so on and so forth. So I never had a doubt that Luke was going to be a large part of this going forward, because you wouldn't spend that much time with Mark and with Sebastian and with Shamook and all of this money and technology if you weren't planning on using this further, especially on him.
The new Disney slogan should be Luke Skywalker. That'll shut him up.
Luke Skywalker, the real hero.
That was a Ron White reference. I don't know if anyone remembers that.
I love Ron
the
White.
Diamonds joke.
But yeah, I mean, it's they're going to absolutely play that card. And they're absolutely going to use that story, and they're absolutely going to go somewhere. The argument right now.
So do we get the faceless robot CGI monster?
Sure.
Or is it going to be an actor? Like, are they going to put a mask over a guy and let him play Luke Skywalker?
Well, from what I understand, Mark Hamill tweeted out something that said he's so happy to be back, which is supposed to be for the Mando and Grogu movie. And if they're going to bring Mark Hamill back, then it's going to be CGI. But if it's another actor, if it's the actor that played him as Luke, and if Sydney Sweeney is going to be Mara, that would make me more comfortable than watching Mara make out with this 60-year-old Mark Hamill. But
I mean, those are other rumors.
Yeah, we know it's going to be some form of de-aging or something. I'm just curious.
I just know that Shamook is out. He's not doing it. So
yeah.
I mean, it's again, it's always this early speculation on what's going to happen. They're so far out from any of this. The current argument right now is, and like I said, I know you haven't watched a lot of Acolyte, so the current argument is cortosis. Are you familiar with cortosis? Dan?
Is that supposed to be the green alien chick?
Nope. No. That's Master
Vernestra.
Vernestra.
Cortosis is the metal.
Cortosis is a metal.
Oh, metal. Okay, I've heard of this thing. Then yeah.
Okay, so the fandom is awry. No, that's the wrong word. The fandom has gone out of their goddamn minds. Because our friend in the show currently has developed a interesting way of defending himself, let's say, and that is this currently is a lightsaber, or his helmet and his gauntlet are currently are able to phase out lightsabers, right? And so basically he has gone to using his gauntlet and his helmet as an offensive weapon, basically. So he's headbutting lightsabers and basically phasing them out and deactivating them during his fights with the Jedi. And the fandom is in full fuck you territory.
Yeah.
Right. They are in full what is this bullshit that we've never heard of in our lives? why
I thought
is
they were
this?
upset because of Mundi being there.
Oh, there's so much upsetness, dude. There's so many levels of this. This is just today's.
Oh.
This is just this last episode's biggest fan fight, let's say, right? And so those of us that have watched or played the Old Republic or even watched the Clone Wars, Anakin actually accidentally destroyed a planet, or maybe not destroyed, but definitely fucked up a planet, blowing up a mine that had cortosis in it, right?
Mhm.
So we've seen it in the Clone Wars, we've seen it in the Old Republic. And so right now, fans are very upset that this device, and I'm going to pull up number 7 while we're at it, that this device deactivates lightsabers. And they are very upset about it. It has stirred up.
Well, I got more news that will make them upset later too.
So again, here is the first frame of it getting headbutted.
Thank you,
lightsaber.
Baymax.
And
Thank
then
you.
here is after, which I thought looked really Predator-like, which was super cool. But ultimately, these two frames are what is driving the fandom in an uproar. And I think it's hilarious.
Dude, I agree with Baymax. I think it's metal as fuck, headbutting lightsabers and then hitting one with your bracer.
I mean, it's super gangster, man.
Hell yeah.
It's super creative. You know, I've been watching.
I've never seen it used this way.
I've been watching a lot of people break it down. Even our friend, I don't even know his name, on Twitter, and we have been watching. So Dan, here's an illustration on my camera of what it does, and it basically deactivates the metal when it comes in contact, deactivates the saber, basically creating the way that I look at it scientifically, and hopefully maybe I can get Neil deGrasse Tyson to come on the stream and break down the science of it. But the way that I look at it is this metal, when struck by a lightsaber, resonates at a frequency that feeds back into the crystal, causing it to short out for a temporary amount of time. Right. And we see him use his gauntlet. He'll like smack out at the lightsaber, which is something we've seen before.
It's like an overheating kind of.
If you watch The Mandalorian, I don't know, he did some of the same shit with his gauntlets, right? So the only difference is this is an older, rarer, it's a lighter metal until refined. And once you refine it, you can refine it into armor. There was actually a Sith that defeated like 2,000 Jedi or some shit in some of the old literature with a cortosis shield, because it would deactivate his armor and his shield were cortosis, and it would deactivate anytime the Jedi would strike him with their sabers, right? And so actually the entire high council of that era had to go and defeat him together, Avenger style, because his armor was too powerful. Yeah, it's basically like a localized EMP, right? It basically shorts out the crystal for a short amount of time and makes it so it can't activate. Whether it's a minute, a couple, 10 seconds, whatever, but it's super gangster. It's super creative. And the fact that the fandom is, and I only mention him, in name because he's the biggest Star Wars creator, but Muscles is with Nick Gillard right now. And so they're breaking down these fights, and I haven't watched it because I don't really watch his content anymore, but if you've watched theories, Nick Gillard videos with them walking and talking about the fight scenes and stuff, please educate me on what he's been saying, because I can't really watch his content anymore.
I did, and I did, and I do, because I appreciate hearing what Nick says. And the two main points that I think were pretty good that he made was that one, the fights aren't meant to look familiar. So when they bring in professionals in like the wushu, or they bring in a professional in the other thing, and they're trying to focus on that fighting style alone, he said it looks too familiar, or they're trying to make it look too much like that style and not familiar. It's supposed to have its own kind of Star Wars type of feel. And that's kind of like what he did with some of his choreography. The other point that he made is that, again, they're trying to stay true to those fighting forms rather than making it look cool visually, like from the camera angles. And
Correct.
the prequel fight, like every frame didn't really miss because they tried to make it look cool, not stylistic to whatever,
The forms.
Right.
Right.
So,
Well, and I think that's something that,
those are two good points, I think.
as much as let's see. Okay. I've seen Ryan explain cortosis to peeps who didn't understand it. He's a big EU guy, hates everything Disney, but came across as liking the deep cut. It is a deep cut. Look, I'm gonna take this for a second. Look, here's one of my biggest frustrations, right? George Lucas sold his share and his stake in Disney a long time ago. And when that happened, the Disney, when they purchased it, decided to decanonize Legends EU, anything but basically the movies of the time. And here we are all this time later, and we're starting to see why they decanonized a lot of these stories, why they didn't want to go the multiverse route like Marvel. This is an important thing because with all these other Legends and EU stories, you have timelines and you have these different broken stories, right? Whereas they took everything and they're like, okay, we're going to start with this stuff. All this other stuff that was made is going to go on the bookshelf for now. And eventually we're going to start bringing a lot of that stuff back into the fold. This is another example of that. This is a deep cut that if you are familiar with the Old Republic, if you are a fan of the EU, if you are a fan of this older stuff, you kind of understand where these Easter eggs come from, right? And so this is almost an Easter egg that's in your face. And that's the only way I can really describe it.
The other thing, and I guess it's the thing that helps me sleep at night with it, is that if they didn't do that, if they didn't make it all Legends, a lot of it stays canon, and then that makes a lot of it not touchable at all. Correct
Right.
me if I'm wrong. Like, we
Sure.
won't get any of this shit ever again if it was in canon and it was still like, nope, that is it. They'd have to go back and do retellings of each of those comics in a series in order to retcon it. So now that it's Legends, right, now that it's Legends, they can take our favorites, bring them in somehow. Some of those projects will get their own individual projects. So I don't know. I think it's the only way they could have logically done this.
Now, rigor mortis. I love your name. Fantastic illustration.
Stay hard. Get hard. Stay hard.
Yep. Get dead. Stay hard. But please, tell me what you don't like about the show. If it's not very good, is it the style that you don't like? Because I have heard people. Actually, I heard a bird last week tell me that stylistically, they didn't like how clean everything was. Right? How you go into the caves and your boots are clean, and you go into the, you're walking through the swamp and your boots are clean, and everything is clean. That's a complaint I could totally understand. I get why a lot of it is polished because it's meant to be this higher time where there hasn't been war or any of this stuff for a long time. So everything's in this peaceful state, like Starfleet Academy style, where everything's really polished and clean. So for me, this is, please illustrate what you don't like. I mean, that's fine. Incredibly long comments are great, but bring some receipts. Don't bring some complaints, right? Don't just bring the tears. Bring some receipts, some paperwork, some documentation.
Factual evidence.
That's the shit we like here, right? We're the beacon of light on the hill in the darkness of Star Wars.
Sometimes I think people see people like Yord steam cleaning his robes and they're like, God damn, look, everything's so clean, when it's just literally one guy. It's like one asshole that wants to be the clean, like,
let's talk about this.
The hand of the king.
Now, I thought as we come into our hour here, I thought that the Mando appearance in the Book of Boba Fett was the most violent thing I had ever seen in Star Wars or would ever see in Star Wars, right? Him cutting people in half, him chopping the head off and delivering it to his client in a bloody bag that never dripped a drop of blood. What I thought was the most violent scene I would ever see in Star Wars was absolutely Ace of Spades, big. When you're playing some spades, like they laid the big down, right? It was a scene that I was like, oh shit. And I said it out loud. I like took a step back and paused
me
it,
too, I think.
rewound it, because I was like, oh shit, what did they do? And Dan has no idea. So I feel obligated. Man. I feel obligated to risk this moment in television because it is so I
Dan, this is a little PG. I'll just warn you, a little PG-13.
Dude, this is like
a little PG-13.
This is almost rated. This is almost rated R. This is like as PG. This is NA-17, bro. That's how I look at it.
Let's do it. Like, go for it. Spoil away.
Like I'm gonna. You're not into it, babe. You don't care. We're gonna do it. You're gonna see.
Single.
Eventually, we'll break down the whole episode.
I mean, we can go through and break down the whole episode. I'm down for all of that. But this, this whole
obsession. Because I want to hear your theories. We used to have some crazy theories. A lot of mine got pretty much shot down.
I mean. Okay,
and I was holding true to the Tyler Durden theory. I thought that the twins were both the same. You know what I mean? It was Brad Pitt, Edward Norton the whole time.
No, it wasn't. It was,
but no,
it wasn't Tyler Durden. It wasn't.
Listen. I don't care what anyone says. That theory is better than the her force projecting her twin theory. Okay.
Oh, come on, that was a good one, dude. Like when she's sleeping.
I hate that.
He did not call me babe, Deborah. No, he didn't.
No.
Who did I call babe?
Apparently, she said you called me babe. It's like,
I probably did. I might have.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sure.
Okay, so probably. I mean, whatever. This is Vegas. But yeah. Okay, so this is what I think could be like. I was thoroughly impressed. Okay, so right. He basically disarms him, and then ready, Dan? Ready? This is just for you.
Let me see.
He snaps his neck and throws him like a rag doll.
Yep. After he just Swiss cheesed another.
Yeah, after he
Padawan.
just Swiss cheesed another Padawan, bro. Like
3 times. Ba ba ba.
It's ruthless.
Give it a 3-piece and a soda.
Dude, he is so good. It is such a good villain so far. It's funny because so we could get into theories and stuff if you want to, but basically that right there,
we want to,
is the most violent thing I have seen in Star Wars. Right, the Swiss cheese. We've seen people get stabbed up with lightsabers. We've seen people heads get cut off and thrown. We've seen all kinds of stuff in the Clone Wars and all that stuff. This in live action, was probably the most violent thing I've ever seen in Star Wars. It was amazing.
In terms of the most violent thing, I don't know, man. I think the Order 66 and the Bad Batch season 1, episode 3 village termination scene still hold up as like the violence.
Sure. But did we see them like get blaster bolts through them and like drop dead and get thrown around and like, I mean. I know
it was all that shit was implied through his helmet.
Right.
It was implied,
But to watch dude just like
I think I need to see him Swiss cheese with Padawan to see it in full. But yeah, because a little head crack is like, oh my.
I mean, he just snapped his neck like he was a rag doll, bro. Like, I mean, it was amazing.
Didn't Vader do the same thing to a little boy?
Vader just snapped necks with the Force though. Like he didn't he was just like, oh, Vader can do that, and you're dead, right? It was by far the most violent thing I've seen.
Dude, there's a point when he kills one of the one of the master's Padawans, and he's like, "You killed Jackie." He goes, "Was that its name?"
Yeah, was that
He
its
has
name?
he has like no
No,
humanity in
he
him at
has no,
all.
like,
It's
he gives zero. He
that
has
shit was
0 fucks
wild.
to give. Okay, let's see. Let's go back to
Yeah,
Rigger.
yeah, bro. Chat's getting fired up. You might want to
Okay, so
address some
first off,
things.
let's see what Rigger has to say. First off, the story, the way that the witches use the Force. Now it's a thread using the Force to conceive a baby. How does a stone temple catch fire that fast? A Jedi dying to a tiny knife. Okay, cool. We'll start with this one, and then we'll go through. And if you want to comment on them as we go, cool.
Mm.
The story, great. Okay, story's not done, so this is like reading half a book and putting it down.
Mhm.
Got to wait to the end. So
That's what I would say about the Stone Temple fire, because a
about
lot of
this.
people don't think the fire is what actually killed them. So
No, I don't think the fire is what killed them either, to be
Right.
honest. So,
Right.
but I think we will get to that. Stone Temple catches fire that fast. I believe, I think, my suspicion is that the either the little one that's all hypnotized, or May that's all hypnotized, or Quarrel made some stuff explode, and then boom, you got fire and fuel and all kinds of stuff. But we'll see that.
now
That's
again,
yet
if
to
you're
come.
breaking down if you're actually breaking down like the fire trickling across the stone floor and engulfing the stone room and lighting the stone table on fire, you can go join Shad on Twitter, bro. I'm sure he'd love to hear what you have to say about it. But like, it's a goddamn
a-
space opera, okay? Space soap opera. So let's
a Jedi dying by a tiny knife. Look, man, you put a knife in certain places on the human body, and it's lights out, right? Um, the cleverness of that scene for me was really brilliant in using, continuing to use the Jedi's weaknesses against them and their empathy. This is what Maul did with Kenobi. Really illustrated this well on how the Jedi don't think logically. Thrawn using Ezra the same way, using his empathy to try to checkmate him.
Force
These
birth, I'm also very, very curious on. Not to interrupt you, but
these moments, the Jedi dying by a tiny knife, knives kill. I don't know if you've ever been stabbed, but it's not fun. Wouldn't write anymore. Yeah, no, you can write as much as you want, man. No one's gonna censor you here for having anything, unless you say trigger words that trigger me, in which case I'll mute you. The power of one, power of two, power of many. Cool. I love this. This is another one that I really like. So I went through this in our last group stream. If you go to Rebels and you watch the World Between Worlds episode, you see the exact same thing being done with Ezra and Ahsoka. Ahsoka is using the Force to shield from Palpatine's, fire essence, whatever you want to call it. And she tells Ezra, "Look, I can't hold it." Ezra jumps behind her, continues, and basically amplifies that Force. Is using the Force to amplify her shield and her power. This is the same thing. It's just illustrated through a different words, through different things, right? It's not illustrated the same way. They're not Jedi. They talk about things in different ways. They're witches, right? Let's continue down to
pull up Baymax.
Betamax. We got some pretty nice action in episode 5. But once the action stopped, we go back to cringe dialogue and awful acting by the lead. Our two boys, both good actors, but when they get CW level, okay.
I will say some of her scenes are not great, but other scenes are. So I don't know if it's just you also got to remember Baymax too, that like she's also working under multiple different directors. So I don't know if like just being able to bring that emotion out of someone every single time when you're working with a different person. I don't know. I don't like it. I wish they would just have a through line with like, a lot of these people working together for multiple weeks at a time. I don't know, Dan, maybe you can speak to that with TV, like,
well, okay,
and actors and a director and taking direction from like 5 different people every single week when you're filming a show where you're supposed to be the same person.
Yeah, it depends on what really the director wants in the moment, because you don't want to act in a scene per se, quote unquote. The goal is to live the scene, and maybe this particular actress has a whole lot of the directions she's given and all the writing and whatever the fuck probably pertains into that. Sorry, Cooper. she just needs to be. I mean, we're like what 5 episodes in now. She's got 3 more to go. So, and juggling all this dialogue and these action-heavy set pieces and rehearsing probably gets
She's playing
daunting.
2 different twins.
Well, that's the other thing I was going to talk about is she's playing 2 different twins. And see, this is where I get to in this moment. You know, how does he not know he's talking to the right one? We don't know that he does. He could very well know and know that that's May. In the next scene, he's going to handcuff her. We don't know where the story is going because, again, the story is not complete yet. Once we have a complete story in this first season, she's trying to play it off that way. We don't know. We know Basil knows, but no one knows how to speak Basil because Yord's dead, and so is Jackie. Those were the 2 that kind of knew how to talk to Basil. So there are things coming up. Again, the story isn't finished yet, so we get into this predicament where we expect it to. Is the next season canceled? I haven't heard any rumors of that. I heard the first season was canceled before its air date.
Let's not speculate. Let's
but
if
honestly,
you have a source, sure.
Look, I watched and I went and tried to pre-order
speculation around isn't allowed here.
No, speculate all you want. I was asking legitimately, is it canceled? If anybody has anything on that, please let me know. But I mean, look, I went on to try to pre-order the Darth Smiley helmet, and it sold out like that. It was gone. Like the pre-sales are over and it's gone. And so you can't get them. I don't know if they're going to hopefully re-release upon release date, but you can't get that helmet now, right? And if it's such an unpopular show, how did it sell out so fast? Right? So I go back to
here's my source. You can argue with her.
There you go. Yeah, argue with her. Argue with Maria. You want to go argue with somebody? She's got a channel. Go
Maria on this channel.
She's got a girl. She's got an invite. Don't think she doesn't have an invite, girl. Come on.
Read me like a fucking book,
girl. You don't know. Thread is an interpretation of the Force, says Matt Cabe. The stones weren't burning; it was the machinery within exploding, and we have yet to get an answer on how the twins were created. We just need to wait a bit. Yeah, the twins could have been created through cloning. The twins could have been, they could have impregnated themselves from a Jedi, right? Drugging a Jedi, impregnating Quirrell through that. There's so many different ways that this can go down. We don't know yet. Your assumption is that because I don't know if your assumption comes from watching other streams and getting the ideas from the bait that they're feeding you, or if you're looking at this idea on your own, but they haven't given us an answer yet. So the Immaculate Conception, the manipulating the Force, which Palpatine never did, according to the comics, he did it in a Force vision or some nonsense like that. But the Immaculate Conception of Anakin has always, from my understanding, been due to the fact that Plagueis was manipulating the Force and damaged the Force, and Anakin was the cure, basically. So we can argue that another time. The Night Sisters, call the use of their, it's just a different interpretation. Knives can also be poison. Great thought. Thank you, Skywalker Academy. At first I thought you guys were joking around, but you guys genuinely do. Yeah, I genuinely enjoy the show. I have found,
bro, you're up here, rigor mortis. You just got to bring it down to like,
no, beat you, babe. Come on.
You're making me soft, okay?
Listen, these 2 might enjoy it. I haven't seen it.
Dan hasn't seen it, so he cannot confirm nor deny anything. But he is boycotting currently. So,
to me, and I didn't like the performance of the young twins. We saw Vivian Leigh Blair kill this Princess Leia. So, go easy on the kids, man. Go easy on the children. They're like what, 8, 9.
I'm glad that you mentioned. Thank you for the segue, Maria. I highly appreciate it, because I actually have a question for not just the panel, but also for the group, the chat, anybody else out there. But if you notice in these scenes here, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to pause it at just the right time.
Oh, they noticed.
Oh no,
this
they
is
did.
Star Wars.
Oh no, they didn't. Most people didn't. I'm telling you. Remember, they don't even remember 0BBY. Okay, they don't even remember 0BBY. Okay,
zoom in is crazy.
Isn't it great? Isn't it great? I've got, dude, the setup has evolved to a whole new platform for me.
Hell yeah.
I'm complete. I'm almost complete, bro. I got like one more thing that I want real bad, and then
There you go.
then my studio is pretty much at the point where I'm like complete.
Once
But
I get some Wi-Fi back, I'll be just like you, get my computer back on, and
bro,
yeah.
okay,
Yes,
so there's this scene. Come on, feed me, Seymour.
Me, Seymour.
Okay,
Whoa.
perfect time. Okay, here we go. So here's the screen. I'm gonna put us over here. Okay, so if you notice this entity right here, right?
I think there's two.
There's one on each side.
Yeah.
They are cloaked. They are completely isolated from the witches that are performing the ceremony. The security all have bow and arrows at the front of the compound. But then there's these two characters that are just hanging out in the front watching this ceremony. And if you fast forward all the way here to where they're exiting, these guys are gone. As soon as they hear the Jedi are there, they're gone. They're gone. Right?
Yep.
So is that our friend Darth Smiley? Could that be our friend Darth Smiley hanging out in the background, had been there on that planet during that ceremony, and that Osha and May were actually supposed to be his in their teachings, right? We don't know the premise of any of the dark side stuff that's going on right now. The fact that they have dangled us on a carrot.
It would honestly be really cool if they were like an offering. They were like two dark side Padawans essentially for both of these apprentice acolyte type figures, whoever they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he outright says, "I'm looking for a pupil."
There's more than one.
We don't know.
We don't know because the thing is, at this point in the show, the only thing that we've seen is we've seen the twins, and one of them went with the Jedi, and one of them did not, and one of them stayed, and the whole coven died. And we don't know what happened to her immediately after that. We don't know who's been training her.
Her master has hidden his face from her the entire time.
Yeah, the master hid his face from her the entire time, wore the helmet. So she
soul goes into her mind and can't figure it out.
Right. And so, yeah. So the Jedi goes into her mind and tries to figure it out. She doesn't even know who he is. And so finally, when he's unmasked during the fight with the Jedi, he's like, you really didn't know?
There's some really good dialogue between the two of them.
Playing like a alchemist.
Yeah, like a stranger, right?
Yeah, well, he was playing an assistant to the master when really he was the master. So he was playing the part of the dummy drunk. Meanwhile, he was pulling her strings the whole time.
The unsuspecting dope.
Right. She's the unsuspecting dope, right?
I know there's rumors of my man from the Supergirl show. He's voice acting.
Yeah, Maria mentioned.
Well, and then this I didn't realize it until I watched it a second time. This is my guy from The Good Place. Right.
Yeah.
This is my guy from The Good Place. He is doing such an amazing job with this. And rigor mortis, I genuinely am enjoying being out of the Skywalker saga. I am enjoying the idea of people are upset that there's canon breaking going on. I don't see any yet. Right. Ki-Adi-Mundi, my theory on Ki-Adi-Mundi is this. I look at the way Mace Windu threw Dooku under the bus. I made a t-shirt about it because Mace Windu is the bus driving bitch. He drove the bus over Count Dooku to get his seat on the panel, right? To get his seat on the council, right? That's what ushered in his seat to show he's trustworthy enough to tattle on another Jedi. What if Ki-Adi-Mundi is the sole survivor of this small council that is handling this, and this keeping this secret from the Republic, gets him his seat on the council.
1,000% possible.
And that
1,000%.
right? That's my thought, because everybody's like, ooh,
He's eyeballing Vernestra Rowe.
He's in the show and it breaks Canon. His birthday is wrong. There's so much wrong with it. So, oh my God.
Well, I like to picture my Chiati Mundi in a tuxedo T-shirt.
and so Chiati Mundi, for me, this could be fantastic if he's the sole survival of this small council, maybe defeats this Sith or not, lets him go, right? Who knows? We don't know what it is, but this is keeping this secret from the Senate, from the Republic, because we've already seen the bureaucracy. Could be a way he gets his seat on the council. And for me, that puts so much
Hell yeah, I think that'd be
in that little twist of how he gets on the council and how the Jedi are shady, man. They lie all the time to get to as long as the juice is worth the squeeze, the Jedi will lie, right? That at least that's how I interpret it.
Yeah, I think that Yoda definitely has hidden secrets. He's lived, he's outlived. When he was growing up, he's outlived everyone he's ever loved multiple times. Like if he ever had care or compassion for any of the people he ever trained, they're all gone now. So of course he has secrets.
Yeah,
I would like to know because I thought this is going to be a little derailed here, but I thought the whole idea of Yoda being around was to show that there was a theory that he was the one that knew the Sith were back, and
we don't know yet. He very well could know with Chiati Mundi, right? Keeping it from the High Republic, because so they put this little caveat on keeping it from the High Council. So there's a lower level of Jedi that are handling this, and there's still the High Council that knows nothing about what's going on right now. And
the reason they don't want to tell
is on that High Council already, right? Because at this point he's like 700-800 years old. So
that's what's breaking up my thing. If you let me explain, Yoda was the one that was supposed to do that in Chiati Mundi's place, but since he's on that High Council, he can't because he's a part of the Jedi that's supposed to let everyone know.
Stand by 1 second. We have a quick sponsor note. I didn't know if you guys knew about this, but we have a quick sponsor note. So for all of you out there, if you haven't yet, get over to the Matt Cave. Everything tastes better out of the Matt Cave mug. And we have a new camera on the channel, and this is specifically sponsored by the Matt Cave. So get over to the Matt Cave, get yourself some merch. If you need retro gaming, this is where you get your retro gaming. So go ahead, get over to the Matt Cave, get yourself your Matt Cave mug right away, because if you don't, well, everything tastes better when you're retro gaming out of the Matt Cave mug. I'm just letting you know. So get over there and get yourself a Matt Cave mug. So good. Anyway, back to what we were saying.
The Stanleys. We all know Chiati Mundi's a piece of shit, so it wouldn't be surprising. I'm saying, man. I'm saying. Fuck that guy.
Attack on the Wookiees.
Matt, that was just for you. That was just for you. That new camera sponsored by the Matt Cave Retro Gaming. Get make sure to get your retro gaming and keep retro gaming alive.
Yo, can I just bring up, because we haven't really broken down the episode at all, the dialogue between Soul and this however the hell you say his name. He says, "You don't remember me," correct?
Yes, he does.
So he's clearly like from the Jedi Temple, or is he saying you don't remember me because of like he was the guy in the bar? He's not even remembering him from when they almost caught him.
No, because that came before his helmet came off.
Okay.
Right. So the remember me comment came at the beginning of the fight.
No, he takes the helmet off, I think.
Not when they have that conversation. When they have that conversation, his helmet was on and he's like, "You don't remember me." And
so then the other thing he says too, Soul, like when Soul figures out that like he didn't show his face, he's like, "What kind of master hides his face from his student?" And the Sith goes to the Jedi, "I don't know, you tell me." Because he knows what happened at this fire event.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think they were there. That's why
that would be further proof.
That's why I think they're there. And this KG, I love this. What if the Witch's Coven mountain could have been on a mine for Kurtosis? I love that. If we
Mhm.
don't see the mask early or the outline of the mask, this could be a perfect opportunity for him to mine what's left after the explosion, because it is a very volatile substance, according to
There was a massive
lore.
hole behind them,
Right.
that could have
Right.
been drilled or whatever.
But yeah, I mean, I
Oh,
think
wasn't it built? It was built between 2
it's like in a
mountains.
crater. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
it's like they
in this
took out
weird
the
crater.
center
Yeah.
of that mountain, really.
So look,
Hmm.
there's for me, there's a lot of this. We don't know if this is the High Master yet, because he makes this like almost like he says something by mistake, but he's like, there's always a higher master, or like the Jedi don't, I want to use my power, but the Jedi won't allow it. But there's this dialogue that made me feel like almost there was a senior master, like he's an apprentice, like he's the Dooku to the Asajj, right? And
Oh.
May is the Asajj, like he's the middle.
They're kind of hinting at a third tier of the
Yes.
Sith now, the Acolyte below the Apprentice.
If he's not some type of apprentice to Plagueis, I will be very surprised.
Well,
Like if he's serving
Plagueis is young at
or
this point. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
I think
but
it'll be
Plagueis is just a
Tenebrous.
boy. If anything, he'll be
Tenebrous.
They
But
believe.
both of them, Tenebrous and Plagueis, both have different apprentice. Tenebrous should have 7 apprentices, and what's his name? Plagueis should have more than 1 apprentice besides Palpatine.
right.
before
And he should, but not for another 50 years or so.
Because the Phantom Apprentice is like what, 180 years?
Yeah, and he's still got a Palpatine was quite old when we see him in the Phantom Menace, right? He was still probably a 60-year-old man, maybe, maybe I don't really know Palpatine's lineage of age by heart, but he looks in his 50s and 60s in Phantom Menace, which means Plagueis wouldn't have started training him until his 60th year or so, right? 50 or 60 years old, because Plagueis can live much longer than a human, right? So to see Plagueis at this point, if anything, we would see him as a young boy, or early in his development into the society of, I want to say, Munes. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
He has to become a high level in his society before, while he's building his dark empire, right? Because they're two-faced like Palpatine. So there's a lot that has to come before we see Plagueis. Even if anything, we may see a Tenebra, we may see this could be completely somebody out of that lineage also, because at this point the Sith are a scattered group. It's not like there's a temple of Sith and a bunch of them running around. They're a broken separate group because the Jedi defeated them in their war or whatever, right? So
Hashtag bring back Torvaldin. Yes. 1000%.
I
would
think
love
there's a
that.
lot of opportunity in these stories. I'm digging, this is what I want more of. I mean, look, everybody complains again, it's more for personal outrage than anything. It has nothing to do with real hate. Look, some of them really genuinely hate Disney Star Wars. And to that I say, cool. But the everybody else is hunting outrage, right? They're personal outrage hunters to get clicks and views. And this is a time in Star Wars that's unique. They're giving us something outside of the Skywalker timeline.
The unknown.
This is what people have been clamoring about for years. They give it to us and nobody's happy about it. Right?
That's literally the only reason I was so hyped to start buying comics and stuff, was new canon, new lore. But everyone's acting like nothing can be goddamn new because it's old. Because it's in the past. Like, all the technology's been lost. It's like, dude, it happens.
That was kind of my argument with, as stupid as our argument as it is, but with technology, look at cell phones. There was a time when cell phones were the size of a brick, a literal big old gray cylinder block brick, right? And now cell phones, you have a whole computer that fits in your pocket, right? And so there was a time when as things progress, they get smaller. And maybe one of the gripes is that the lightsabers are too big, right? They're too thick and too big. Well, with time comes smaller devices and smaller and more technology and this and that and the other. So,
like, is it the creatives? It's not the creatives' fault that no one in Legends decided to put a cortosis helmet on somebody and say that it does something else. Like, the only thing we ever knew it to do was to deactivate that kind of a lightsaber in that form. And now that it blocks like a mind trick, like freaking Magneto, that's sick. Like, why is that a bad
well,
thing?
okay, so if I have to complain about anything, I don't like how it's not like Magneto's helmet and where what you can't get in, but he can get out, right? I don't necessarily like that idea, right? Like when he has the helmet on.
Well, he hasn't been really using mind tricks.
No, and I'm pretty sure the mind trick he uses on May is after the helmet's off.
No, that would
Right.
be, that would be
And-
logical.
And that's the logic that I like that they're following. So look, as much as
Yo, can we mention too, Dan? This dude just eats a stun blast. He just catches
I
one
think
of
that's
those
helmet
stickers,
also.
and he
think it has
just
to do with the
stands there
helmet.
and like it never even touched him, and he just turns and looks at her. So
Yeah, man. I
don't know if he's
remember
just that
I
dude.
remember when 10 megabytes was a huge hard drive, bro. Okay. I remember when I remember when computers
Guys, this isn't the Matt Cave. This isn't
were
retro.
huge, too. Right? Look, it's there's a lot of things in this show to complain about. I just feel like there's so many hidden little Easter eggs, and in this one, we get a lot more of the what do you want to call it, of the confusion, right? This is where, okay, what is really going on? Why does he know Soul? Right? Does he remember Soul from watching him destroy the witches? Is that the darkness that he's referring to because they killed all the witches? Right?
Mhm.
Maybe he was there.
Something
So,
happened with the witches.
well, that's
show.
what I'm saying. And we're going to see that, right? That's coming up. Yeah, I mean 14-4, 28-8. I mean, I remember all the good stuff. But ultimately this episode gave us a lot, right? I don't necessarily yes, okay. Was the lightsaber haircut stupid? Yes. Yes, it absolutely was. Could she have done that with one of her little knives? Yes. Okay, I will give you that. That is the Vespa gang of this episode, okay? If that's the dumbest thing we saw this whole episode, I will grant that sale. Sold, right? I will grant that. Aside from that, this was fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, let me trigger people some more.
Please.
So when he's over the top, how do you say his name? Chimere? Chimere?
Sure. Come here.
Chimere. So when he's
Call him
over the top of
Call him
her,
me for all I care. I mean,
when he's covering Osha with the blanket or whatever, like he's gonna take her in and try to make him or her the new apprentice or the replacement or whatever, you hear Kylo Ren's theme song.
correct.
And Leslie Headland recently in an interview said it is there on purpose, but I can't tell you why, and I can't go into what it is, but we will find out.
Well, and
So I think that
on this.
confirms that he is one of maybe the original Knights of Ren.
Well, and I'm with you. I think that she is the more violent twin. She is the more volatile, out of control twin. She has less power, or
They're not really selling that to me. Like, if she's gonna be the one that flips dark, it hasn't really been sold to me. It's gonna have to be like this traumatic, like I am your father, but in the bad way. Like finding out how your whole family died and it was the Jedi that did it.
I think we're going to get that story of what happened that night.
Yeah, because you see
through two different lenses, potentially.
Because you see Kalnaka fighting.
If not through two different lenses, then they're going to tell the story simultaneously. Like, I don't know if you watch Ted Lasso. I don't know if you're a Ted Lasso fan.
Mm-hmm.
There's a point at which Rebecca and Ted are telling a story of their parents and how they each caught or each walked in on their parents doing something different, but they're telling the story at the same time, illustrating different points, going back and forth. I could see that being a way that this illustrates cyber cuts.
Ah, you did it, you son of a bitch, cyber cuts!
So it just feels to me like they could tell their version of the story as it's going on. Soul telling it from being in the moment, and Khmer's.
I don't think he's gonna tell it ever. I think he's gonna get exposed. I don't think he's ever
Well,
gonna tell her
that's
the
even
truth.
better, because if our Smiley friend tells the story, I think he's going to show Osha. I don't think he's going to tell her. I think he's going to show her through the Force.
Hell yeah.
Right? Because we know that Soul was using the Force to try to dig through May's mind and try to dig through Smiley's mind. I feel like he is going to Smiley's going to do the same thing, but in opposite, and show her his point of view on that battle. Stop it. It's true though. But I just seems like Osha is the more vindictive.
Wait, what?
Osha. Oh, that's the Dark Jedi from Survivor. Maria saying the ladies would swoon over the actor that voices Dagan Gera in live action. My ass needs a swoon. Just saying. Maria needs a cold shower.
Yep.
Yeah, so look, I think a Targaryen, don't get me started, dude. That was good. That was a good episode this week. Don't get me started. But I think, Osha doesn't really know what happened that night. Osha can't let the past die, but she doesn't really know what happened. That's also part of the problem, that she can't let it go. She doesn't know what happened. So she has an idea. She thinks she knows what's happening.
She asks Soul in that one moment and they get interrupted. So she's already like, what the hell?
Right. And I think that our friend Smiley is going to show her maybe his point of view from watching it. And then she's going to confront Soul on it, and he's going to have to explain what happened. But I ultimately think that he was there, and that just based on that scene with the witches, the threads, the inauguration, I think that was potentially him and maybe his apprentice of the time. And once he takes on May, he kills his apprentice to move on to May. But there's just so much still left up in the air. It definitely
too many questions.
So many questions, dude. Like, we don't see Quirrell dead, but she could be dead at the hands of Smiley. You promised me the twins. You promised me 2, and they're dead, right? Like, there's so much left untold. We're hopefully going to get in the next 3 episodes. Tomorrow night is episode 6. And really, I mean, this episode, watching Jackie die, was heartbreaking because she was kicking some major butt, right? Yep. It was really and I think the thing I enjoy the most about the character is I don't see X10 or 12 or whatever she was. I don't see the actress that played Wolverine's daughter. I see this alien Jackie, right? I like what they did with her character because I didn't take me out of it. But at the same time, that was some cool saber shit.
Dude, it was some cool saber shit. Dan, this dude's got a saber that has a detachable hilt at the bottom, and it's a fucking short blade. So he has like he has the parrying short blade.
He does the Cal Kestis, bro.
It's dope. And after he kills her, he just reattaches it like it's nothing, and it's cool. I like him a lot, bro. I did not like this dude throughout this whole shit. I thought he was lame.
I knew it was him.
He seems like somebody that's like gonna die the moment his master is revealed. I don't see him sticking around at post.
Yeah, I mean, I could totally see that. That would be a great season finale, leading to another more powerful Sith or something of the sort. the thing is everybody has this assumption of they know that where this story is going because Leslie wrote it. You know, they have
missed
this.
the Jedi kebab too.
Oh,
He ha-
the Jedi
has-
kebab was amazing,
So he runs through a Jedi, right?
Bro.
And then Force pulls another one onto it while she's on there.
bro. The Jedi kebab
I think
was.
we lost him. No,
Oh, Dan, come back, Dan.
he's
Oh,
trying.
the Jedi
I'm
kebab.
here. I'm here. Calm down. I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, so he like runs through a
Still
Jedi and then
texting.
Force
Wait.
pulls another one onto the same blade. It's pretty
Oh,
savage.
yikes.
It's a pretty savage
Jedi
fight.
killer. Need it.
Dude,
Need it.
It was really good, man. I mean, I was quite surprised at here, Dan. I'll play it even if we get yeeted. I'll play it. I don't care. I'll play it. If we get yeeted, we get yeeted. So let me get right to it because
Yep. I thought that was too on the nose when he was like saying peace is a lie kind of shit.
Ha.
It's like,
Ha.
yeah. Yeah.
okay.
For real.
Here we go, Dan. You
Keep
ready?
putting them-
You ready? Here we go, Dan. This
Yeah,
is just
yeah,
for
yeah.
you. All right. This is just
Hey.
so gangster. I've seen it on Twitter all day. I can't get enough of it.
Ain't this the one? Yeah.
So good, dude. So good.
They said that's the best Star Wars fight since the prequels.
Oh, I mean, there's some good in there, sure.
I would say this is the
Oh,
best
here comes-
fight Disney's done.
Here comes the Jedi kebab. Ready?
One of.
Ready? Jedi kebab. Shoop.
Let's see.
Mm.
Oh my. Oh,
The Jedi
wow.
kebab is so good, dude. Oh,
Yep.
that should be its own hashtag. Right?
Mm.
Like
Hashtag
right here
Jedi
comes.
kebab. What the hell?
Here comes, ready? Here it comes. Probably eat, right? There's the first one. Right? That's the pepper, right? You put a pepper on first or like an onion. And then he was like, "You know what? I need a protein." Right? He's like, "Oh, hold on.
Just Force pull.
I need a protein real quick." And he's like, "Shoop." Oh, there's my Jedi kebab.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yo,
Wow.
there was-
So
the fight
What the
scenes
hell?
in this were sick. I don't care what people say, bro. I've never seen a
Yeah.
Jedi kebab. I've never seen lightsabers get phased out like that.
And if you don't slow it down to 0.25 speed, shad, it's rather enjoyable.
Bro. I mean, I'm using Chrome, I think, probably. Yeah, I think I'm using Chrome. But yeah, I mean, look, this dude racks up like 5 kills.
Kill-tacular.
It was like flawless victories, right? It was for sure some hot shit, dude. Honestly, if nothing else, Dan, try to get watch those fight
Yep.
scenes. If somebody's posted them somewhere, I'm sure watch the fight. If nothing else, watch the fight scenes. The fight scenes are fantastic. Yeah, Maria, I have a bypass. We could talk about it later.
I'm gonna check
but
out
yeah.
the whole thing. Probably I'm a binge it or something. Maria,
Yeah, honestly,
tell
I think
me
it's going to
that
be
you're
amazing on a
writing
binge.
Maul as the villain for Jedi Survivor 3. Please confirm. Thank you.
Oh, I mean, I don't know anything about that. I cannot confirm nor deny anything that I've heard, but I can say that I know Jedi Survivor 3 is in motion.
Mhm.
I don't know who the villain is yet. I heard rumors that we're going to get a Mara Jade potentially.
What
I
the
heard
hell?
that. I mean, that's the rumors through the grapevine right now, right? Is that
Bro,
that there
if they
could be a
make
Mara?
that if they make that her, that no.
Oh, you talking about Sweeney?
No, if she's married, I don't want it. I don't
Who's
want
Mara Jade? Who?
Yeah, if Sydney Sweeney, if
Yeah,
Dan is trying to
yeah.
tell me this rumor, no. I
Yo,
don't want it. I don't
come
want
on. Look at her with red
No,
hair,
I'm-
bro. It would be like Amber Heard in Aquaman. Come
For
on.
real.
Yeah.
Be
no,
awesome.
not Amber Heard.
No,
She's
no, I'm
typecast,
saying
I
like
think,
Amber
bro.
Heard's
I don't
red
know.
hair was in Aquaman. I'm just saying, you know,
Right.
picture
right.
her
I
as,
mean,
as a real pasty redhead, right? I mean, that's how she's gonna look. Perfect for Mara Jade, right? Real pasty redhead.
If you can separate the Euphorianisms from her face and the Madam Web of it all, Sydney Sweeney could do Mara Jade justice. I mean, she's my age, right? So you can a younger Mara Jade isn't like bad. I just hope that I just really want
I
her.
don't want it to be
like,
anybody famous. I am on the George Lucas train of like fuck this famous people shit. Right? Like fuck these fucking famous people. Fuck all this like
so
Brie
no
Larson
Karen
cover.
Gillian.
No,
Karen
man.
Gillian for Mara
Like
Jade.
Trinity,
No.
look, you're gonna watch the show, and in the first 5 minutes, you're gonna be like, this is why you don't put a marquee character from other universes in these shows. There's a reason that you keep Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Pine and Chris Pratt and all of these guys in Marvel and not bring them to Star Wars. This is the problem with bringing big time celebrities to Star Wars is you can't. That's why what they did with Jackie and X-23, that's why they did such a good job, because I didn't see X-23.
They threw
I
in
saw
makeup
a new
too.
character. The makeup made it different, which worked, right? That didn't work with Trinity, right? All I saw in that scene with that actress was Trinity on wires in the Matrix. That's all I saw. And in that regard, that sucks, right? Give me no-name actors. Do the Daisy, do the John Boyega, do the Adam Drivers, do a bunch of no-name actors that you maybe seen in a toothpaste commercial, right? Or a Mentos commercial, and not somebody you've seen in a popular show that already has a huge following. Because then, like the Trinity character in this episode, in this series, you lose the audience immediately, because all I was waiting for was for Neo to pop through the window, right? In that regard, no, he ain't showing up yet. And honestly, that's another reason. Like, he would make a great Revan, but all you're gonna see is Keanu with a lightsaber, bro. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
You see anyone else's Revan though?
No, you can't. Absolutely, you can. There's a ton of actors that could pull that off. Right? There's a buttload of actors. I mean, as much as I don't want to see, him do it, I think somebody bulked up a little bit, like Timothy Chalamet, could play a good Revan, right? Like somebody that's good with. Oh yeah, dude. But my point is, I don't want that kind of character. I want them to bring in somebody new. I want them to bring in an actor that's new, that could come in and make the character their own, not another iteration of an actor that's been around Hollywood for 20, 30 years, that we've seen this person do other shit, and that's all we see, right? That's why I liked what they did with Soul's character. He's the guy from Squid Games. They don't even look the same. Like, I can't place the dude in the Squid Games because everything is different, right? There's a point where you're too well known for Star Wars. I'm sorry. Just stay away. Just stay away. Stop trying to get cast in Star Wars. It needs to be new actors. People like you should be playing in Star Wars, not little hotties from other shows, right? Sorry, don't.
Technically, I always look at Dune-Ra as being canon, so I am technically in Star Wars in the independent side, but yeah, I get what you mean.
You know what I mean? Like, guy, I want to see, like, look, yeah, even Samuel L. Jackson takes you out of it, because all you hear is, "Where's my lightsaber, motherfucker?" Right? Like, that's all you hear in your head when you see Samuel L. Jackson getting tough with somebody, right?
Everyone's just really waiting for him to drop the F-bomb and stuff.
Right? That's what I'm saying, dude. So, look, I want, if you're gonna bring in these high paid actors, number one, I don't like bringing in high paid actors, right? Like, it's a bad idea. Bring in people.
What up? You read past Marius comment.
Talking about this one?
Damn you. Yes.
Yeah,
no,
I agree.
Not that one. No, the other one.
The Adam Driver one?
3.
Survivor 3. You're talking about Survivor 3? Yeah, it's about the path and uncovering more sensitive. Yeah, I kind of figured that's where we were going, especially with Kenobi and the path and all that stuff.
Y'all killing off Cal? What the fuck, dude? The hell? He's a great character. Talking about it's not working the way they want. God damn it. Cal Kestis should be a part of this shit as a new librarian.
I mean, look, the thing is, you can't.
How dare you? How dare you,
can't
Maria?
be Doc Holliday and
English?
survive.
Sure you
You never-
can. Just use the force.
I'm gonna take this as a confirmation. Everybody, tweet Maria, who just confirmed that Mace Windu is alive still.
My comic strip
I'll
is in the
believe it.
works. As soon as the comic strip is done and the t-shirts are printed, I will be trying to get a hold of Samuel L. Jackson's representation to send him a shirt, because
Yeah, and
he'll
Maul's waiting to be resurrected a third time before.
No, come on. No, we haven't even seen Mace since the fall, you know. So
if it was going to happen, it should have happened by at least Ahsoka season, not Ahsoka.
no, I
season
think
2.
it's got to be the Mace Windu story. For me, it has to be a Kenobi era story. It can't be after.
Are we even getting a Kenobi season 2? Is that even happening?
Because they need
Yeah,
to
with
listen.
the death of Mace Windu.
They need to listen to my story in the Kenobi season 2, the death of Mace Windu.
No, we're
They
not.
don't have
They
a
need to
script,
listen to me.
and they need to pick up my script for Boba Fett season 2, because that shit would connect him right back to the Mandalorians, and that shit would be hype.
See, you ain't tell me about that Boba Fett though.
Oh, I
just know
told you.
about
Oh,
the
okay,
Kenobi.
all right. Here's the quick Reader's Digest of the Book of Boba Fett season 2.
Okay.
Book of Boba Fett season 2 is Boba Fett going back to his roots. All right, so being the what is he? Domo Arigato. What is he? Grand Daimyo. Grand Daimyo.
Grand Daimo.
Dynamo. Grand Dynamo. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's the boss. He's the Hutt, right? He's the job of the Hutt of Tatooine now, right? So he's in charge of Tatooine. He's the boss. So for me, what is the most important commodity on Tatooine?
Water.
Sand.
Bitch, come on. What is the most
Spice.
important commodity? Not what do they have the
Spice.
most of?
Spice, man.
Spice. No, water. Nobody's got enough water, right? It's a desert planet.
Right.
Everybody's
Said
hunting
that.
for water, right? Yeah, that's what you were right. Dan said sand. Everybody hates sand. So water, right? So what does Boba Fett remember from his childhood? A planet full of water. Yeah, he's got to take a step away. He's heard this shit before. So where does Boba Fett remember from his childhood, right? The place he called home, right, was Camino, that had a lot of water. And so he decides he's going to go into the Slave One archives and go back to Camino through the star maps in the Slave One. When he arrives to here, I'm gonna bust Scotty out of here. When he arrives to Camino, the Slave One, an alarm goes off in the Slave One behind him that he never noticed before, right? And it goes off, and he's back. It goes off, and he, basically hits the alarm, and a platform starts to rise out. A landing platform starts to rise out of the sea, and the Slave One goes into autopilot, lands there. This is basically the secret layer of Boba Fett on Camino, right? And so he goes into this and has basically a hollow, what would be like a holocron, but like a hollow library of Jango Fett talking to Boba, right? In case he ever died on one of his missions, that way he could learn to be basically him, basically Jango. He could learn to become Jango Fett, essentially. And as he's on this, he discovers all about how Jango Fett was part of the old Mandalorian Guard, how he was with Jaster in the Mandalorian War, and the whole history of Jango Fett. And during this time, that leads him back to the Mandalorians, and that leads him back to his lineage, which is back to the original story of Boba Fett being a Mandalorian, being the true Mandalorian, but the second coming of that, because he is a true clone of Jango Fett. So if anybody from Mandalorian, or some really old Mandalorians, could even recognize Boba Fett and call him Jango, because he is a true duplication of Jango Fett, right? So the whole thing kind of snaps into place like Legos, because he doesn't know anything about his father. He knows nothing about Jango. He died when he was 10. So the only thing he knows is what the other bounty hunters have told him. So he goes back to accidentally discover his lineage, that leads him back to Mandalore, which leads him back to the Mythosaur, which leads him back to getting into the leadership of the Mandalorians. That's my season 2 Book of Boba Fett.
I would fix the beginning, because if it's supposed to, you're trying to canonize it, at the end of season 1, Boba kind of left it Tatooine up to the people of Tatooine.
Well, he
so
just
really
mentions at the end of it, he mentions to Fennec, he's like, I don't know if we're meant to do this, right? Like he's like, I don't know if leadership is for me, basically. And so that's what, you know, during that time in transition, whether he's going to leave it with the biker nerds and our fun black chrysanthemum, or Fennec stays there and manages for him, whether he ushers a deal with whoever, whatever the case is, at some point he's going to go say, look, I need to take care of you people, but you need a real leader. I'm going to go find you the water you need to make Tatooine flourish. In that journey, he rediscovers Jango Fett. He rediscovers the war between the Jedi and the Mandalorians. He learns all about Jango Fett. And how cool would it be to see Tem back in Jango armor?
Hold up. Yes, I'm going to sidestep
like in the
again.
past, like doing these videos or holograms and shit. Like,
hell yeah, very good. On the topic of bringing people back to Star Wars, Natalie Portman as Abeloth. What do you think?
Dude, that'd be sick.
Right?
That's
What?
That's tough. That's tough. That's tough.
What?
That's tough. Does she get? I mean,
she wants to do it.
If she gets to pick her form,
Well, you know, Abeloth is a shapeshifter, so she can.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. If she gets to pick her form,
yes.
Dude, and if she chooses the form of the chosen one's fallen love,
Just
and if she knows,
because he's the chosen one still,
and she do it in front of Luke too, because that's his mother. So mother.
Well, here's the thing: is like,
and Anakin is still a Force ghost, fucking shit up for the dark side.
Is more than that. Anakin is basically like the father at this point. He can transcend from this world to the next, in and out at his leisure. Literally,
let Dave cook. Let Filoni cook.
Like
just let him cook.
It would be so. It would be so ironic. The only thing is, Anakin would have to be there to try to stop her as the father. And then she would have to go into his mind and find the thing that hurts him the most. And that's Padme. Yes. And that's why she takes the form. It can't just be because Luke's never seen her. Leia's never seen her. They don't really know about her. They don't know what she looks like. They don't know anything. It has to be an Anakin moment where he's like there to stop her. And then all of a sudden he's about to kill her using whatever, trap her, whatever. And then all of a sudden she peers in his mind and takes the form of Padme before he strikes her down. And then that's what releases her, because he can't do it. He can't watch her die again. That would be the only way I want to see Natalie Portman revise a character, because again, that's the only way it would work for me, man. It's got to hit Anakin in the guts.
For real. I 1000% agree, because he spent most of his time as Vader trying to bring her back. So,
yeah, but Leia has seen visions, but Leia does not know what she looks like. They were children when she died. They were infants. They were newborns. She doesn't remember her face.
There's always the chance that Ahsoka showed Luke and Leia holograms.
Maybe
Padme, since they were friends. We don't know what Ahsoka and Luke did, so it's possible.
Well, and even more so, we don't know. I mean, we don't know how much of if the Republic archives were destroyed by Sidious during the 19 years of the Empire. You don't know if the mention of Amidala had been erased from history because it makes Anakin go crazy, or makes Vader. It weakens Vader.
It's not,
you know what I mean?
Mission of Amidala is survived. That would be very shy. If you destroyed every trace of
Padme, that would be as somebody who's trying to like hold somebody on a leash, like Palpatine does with Vader. I would erase every mention of her across the universe, because that would be torturous for Anakin, or that would weaken. Padme weakens Vader, right? It lets Anakin out, right? It's like if Anakin's in a cage, that's like a moment of breath for Anakin to come up. So for me, like Vader, that weakens Vader. Padme weakens Vader to Palpatine. So erasing her from existence, almost Rick and Morty style.
Yeah, would be in line with his character. Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Because it's all about control,
He
right?
teamed up. Yes, when he teamed up with her handmaid in that comic, I'm wondering if she might have any. What is he saying? He's talking between.
I'm really looking forward to it. Either way, it doesn't really matter. I mean, if Natalie Portman's down to do it, do it. I don't know how I think it would be a great
Bring
way
back
to
Natalie Portman.
I think it would be a great way to manipulate the characters, right? I think it would be a good way to manipulate Luke and Leia. I think it's a great way to manipulate Anakin. I
I'm
think
trying to remember. I think it was the Bloodline novel. Like Leia didn't even know her name until she was much older.
Yeah,
she
yeah,
learns in the Bloodline novel. They tell us how she learns her name.
That's what I'm saying.
Really
It was
twist the knife. She can turn to Shmi Skywalker too. Bring back her. She's still alive.
Yeah, I think Padme's more of an injury, right? I think that yes, Shmi was the beginning of the descent of Anakin and the lies that started and the lies that fester in him. But ultimately, Padme is the one that really made him. The loss of her is the one that broke him, right? And so,
and now we know he has this whole arc where he worked with Momin to build his castle. Bro, they
right.
build
The reason he built
12. They build 12 castles minimum before they settle on Vader's castle. So the amount of time that it took him to build and destroy and build and destroy, and that was all to try to bring Padme back.
Yeah, I mean that's
so that was multiple years.
Yeah, you know? they built about a dozen fortresses, and then finally they found the fortress that could attune to the frequencies that were needed to go into basically the afterlife to look for Padme. Right. That's why Vader's castle is the way it is. But
Bail gives Leia a box of like heirlooms, and that's where she learns the name Padme.
Right.
Like,
and so it would cool. The only way I see that working is if it's an Anakin. Anakin is there when Abeloth is released, and she peers into his soul and finds the memory of the memory that haunts him the most, which is
she'll be messing with everybody though. Surely she'll have multiple forms.
Yeah. 1000%.
So I
mean they literally could like possess the body. No,
because she's dead and gone, and
yeah.
You know,
she's preserved under that glass. I don't know, bro.
I mean, is that like a mausoleum style where it keeps the body fresh?
Bro.
Mummification, like
just Star Wars, man. I don't know.
If you want a fresh Natalie Portman, it should be shapeshift instead of like a corpse Padme.
They better not defile the body like that, please. Star Wars. Ignore me.
And thankfully, Natalie Portman looks exactly the same that she did 20 years ago, so it doesn't matter. She's basically a vampire. So,
and if you bring back the little Jedi younglings, Anakin slaughtered, the Master Skywalker, what's we going to do? Bring that kid back,
Man, well, look, but the great thing about where we are now is that, look, all of those stories, I would love to see, I would love to see a point in which we get a Mace Windu back in some facet. I think it's entertaining. I think Samuel L. Jackson wants to do it. I just don't think they have the right project for it, because he can't, as much as he wants the show to be called Windu or Mace, really, he can't hold that show, because what does his character do, right? How does it fold into what we're doing currently? It doesn't really, unless you use him in another show like Kenobi to help progress that story along while he gets to play a villain, right? So it kind of twists everything around there.
Rogue Jedi that thinks the Empire is still a threat and going crazy and killing everyone. Yes, give it to me. That can hide both light and dark, but it could be that he's the place of that clone. What's his name? In the Heir to the Empire books, the clone Jedi.
Oh, you're talking about Sabayoth?
Sabayoth.
Jor-El Sabayoth. Yeah, instead of Sabayoth, it would be Mace Windu in that.
Well,
role.
I mean, for me, the Mace Windu character would be great to further along the Kenobi arc. Only that we need Kenobi to age in less than 5 years. We need him to age from the Kenobi of Ewan to the Kenobi of Alec in a 5-year period in Star Wars. And
Do
so,
we though?
so
Do we though?
no, we do. We really do. We need to catch up to. We need to catch up to A New Hope.
Bro,
Right.
half my beard turned gray this year alone.
And
What you talking about?
and we need to get from young man Kenobi that walks off into the desert with Qui-Gon Jinn's Force Ghost to the Alec that finds Luke in the Kenobi series, or I'm sorry, in A New Hope. So we have to get. That has to happen. And for me, the twin sons isn't going to do that in 5 years, right? So for me, the best way to do that is with Force lightning, the same way that Palpatine was aged.
Oh,
And
God. You saying Mace Windu's gonna zap Kenobi with Force
yeah,
lightning?
hell yeah, that's what I want. Yeah,
He's all in on that shit.
I'm all in on that
wow.
shit. Yeah, I'm all in on that shit because
Well,
Mace
that's-
Windu.
Are you
Mace Windu comes to hunt Luke Skywalker, and Kenobi has to defend Luke
Okay.
from an old master and friend.
I like this. Oh wait, sorry. Where'd it go?
Should have been Rise of the Rebellion,
Rise of the Rebellion, Mace?
but
No,
I
this
look,
one. Sorry.
Boba and Mace.
Boba's got Mace and Carbonite hidden in the
same month.
back. He just hasn't remembered it.
I personally just would like to see those stories. If we're going to stay in that timeline, I'm digging what's happening in Acolyte because it's taken us away. It's given us a breather from the Skywalker series, from the timeline during that 50 years. And in this show, it's fun. It's pretty light in my eyes. I'm having a lot of fun with it. There's some pretty interesting moments. The Jedi kebab, the chiropractic Yord. So there's a lot of different fun things going on in here, but I'm looking forward to more because this is, if they're only scratching the
I can't wait for the next couple episodes. We haven't seen
dude, the fight
we haven't
on
seen anything.
the original fight with the possession and the Wookiee. Like, we're finally going to get to watch the Wookiee Jedi happen. Like, not
he's gonna scar what's his name?
he's
gonna
basically
scar
gonna
the
like
shit out of this one
like,
Jedi's face.
fucking like fucking palm his skull, bro.
Yeah.
There's some such good violent
I think he
fights.
breaks his orbital or whatever around the eye.
I
Dan,
mean,
you haven't even seen trailers, have you?
No, I have.
Bro, there's a trailer with the Wookiee
yeah.
hand like right on the side of this dude's head, and he's just
Like,
screaming.
he's like crushing it.
He's
Oh,
like
God.
crushing his fucking
It's so
skull, dude. Yeah.
It's cold.
Wookiee action. Let's go.
Dude,
Yeah.
Wookiee, giant Wookiee lightsaber force using, everything is great about that. Like,
Mhm.
people were so upset. They're like,
We finally get a Jedi Wookiee Jedi full size, and you kill him before he even fights anybody. He's dead in his slow, son of a bitch.
You know what it reminds me of every time you do that shit? Every time he does that, I think of Chunk from the Goonies when he's telling the story, and everybody was puking on each other, and it was all my fault.
Thank you. That's exactly what I'm
Yo.
doing.
Damn.
That's exactly what I'm doing. Oh man,
Brandon, we were just
there's
talking
so
about
much
David
symbolism in
earlier.
this show. The triangle. So shouldn't it have been an upside down triangle if it was symbolism in this show? Oh man, that was
yin
so
and
good.
yang too, right? There's a lot of this yin and yang symbolism. I was gonna say something else about.
God.
So like now my newest like thing that's really cool. It sucks that Yord was killed, and he's literally the only one that knows Shriwook. So he was the only one that could understand Basil, the little tracker, who's definitely going to smell the other twin now and not be able to communicate it to anybody. He's not going to be able to communicate it to anybody now. So
you didn't see him when he was walking back there.
Yeah, he's already like, it's a problem. Yeah.
girl, you don't smell like weed.
match.
This is not your bong. This is not your bong, right? You don't smell like weed. Get out of here, right? I know what you mechanics are doing on that starship. You don't smell like no weed and grease. Nah, man, this smells like cookies and dirt. This different, right? Like it's so good.
It's another language? Okay. So he learned it, but no one else knows it regardless.
No one else. Both Jackie and Yord are gone. So unless there's a translator droid on that ship, we're just gonna have to wait for her hair to move so he can see the tattoo. Like I said, I don't think he doesn't know. Especially because that was his Padawan. Especially because that was his Padawan, right? Like that's the part that gets me is like he knows. The only reason he's saying we got to get to the ship is because he's like I got to get one of you two the hell out of here.
Yeah, and the whole time he's been trying to bring her into the High Council. So.
Exactly.
We shall see.
But I'm more curious to see what happens to May or what happens to Osha.
Yeah, I literally do not care about Soul and anything that has to do with the Jedi now. All I care about is Kamir and the dark side and his training and why he wants a pupil. Gimme.
Or if he has another master, like there is could we see a Bisk?
I'm telling you guys, it's the same.
I was thinking about my lobster Bisk I got going on downstairs.
You just got to say it like type.
A
fifth Bith.
Is that a Bith?
A fifth?
Again,
is that a fifth Bith?
Premier. Holy fuck. Can I speak? God damn. A fucking bisque. Oh man, Scotty.
A lobster bisque.
If Quamir wants one of these twins to be his apprentice, it's simply because he needs their help to take down his master.
Yes.
Right. And he made it kind of sound like that at one point. He's like, he says something about basically the power, and then he kind of corrects himself. He's like, the Jedi don't allow it, but it almost seems like he was talking about a higher power than him.
He says, I want to be able to train on my own, free, but he wants to be able to train in the Force, free from prosecution from the Jedi, and he wants his own pupil while he's doing it.
Right. And so that's
to make sure, you guys, Obsession said that you don't think that he's a part of the Tenebris lineage, so do you think he's a Knight of Ren or an Acolyte of some other Dark Force thing, or what?
I mean, we don't know yet, but it would be, if there's not a master and apprentice situation going on, and he's searching for an apprentice to help him defeat his master, right? As all Sith do. You find an apprentice to your apprenticeship to help kill your master so you can become the master of a new apprentice. If that is not what's happening, then he would basically, grew up not knowing good from bad, and that he had this ability and used it to his advantage and just kept getting. He doesn't seem like he's got this deep training, right? He doesn't. I mean, yes, he obviously has trained, but he doesn't feel like it's been forever, right? Like a lifelong thing. He does use the Force in really interesting ways, but it seems almost like he's learning everything on his own. Like he's got a YouTube channel he's watching and is acquiring power on his own. If he doesn't have a master, I could see that being what he's looking for, is somebody to bounce ideas off of, somebody to get better, because you need somebody to get better with. You can't progress on your own in anything. So if he doesn't already have a master, which would be a cool way to do it, it would be interesting if he's looking for an apprentice because he's read Sith lore, he's read teachings that he found, and they mention finding an apprentice. Maybe these two young women were promised to him so he could train, and that's why he's continuing to use May, because he was promised both of them. I don't really know, and
they've been practicing this Force ability, Force using there for a long time because the Republic has not found them.
Right.
So I assume the Sith could be there practicing as well.
Right.
Easily.
And so, but if he is the first Sith, whatever, Dark Force user of this era, then I can totally see him living past this season. But if he's an apprentice to third master, then he's totally dead.
I would like to see them end this season the way that they the way I could see them ending the first Boba Fett, or I'm sorry, the first Mandalorian.
Whoa.
I could see
Whoa.
the first Mando or season 2 of Mando with that big surprise of the master not revealing themselves but killing their apprentice, right? So you see the apprentice die,
Yeah.
but the master is shrouded and hidden until next season. I could see them doing that shit because they're very good at keeping you on the hook for another season. And so
it all depends on who David Harbour is playing. If he's meant to be something, then it's like, okay, cool. But if not, then
right. So Maria is saying they've confirmed he's a Sith.
Let's see.
And there's a Forbes article that is hidden behind a paywall, and I didn't want to open it, so I don't give a shit about that. They wanted my email and all kinds of other stuff. The other thing,
works underplayed. Problem solved. Yeah.
We have not seen the scene with Vernestra and her laser or her lightsaber whip. If you watch that clip again, at the top part of the frame, you can see the red hand on the ground that the guy created when he did the Force repulse.
Yep.
So she shows up. I don't think Soul makes it off that planet before she shows up there. Because she's like, I assume, like, bro, maybe even the Jedi have like a sense, like a bunch of Jedi just died. You think no one sensed that? You think no one on Coruscant is keeping tabs on Soul and these people? And they're like, all right, time to get in our ship and hit hyperspace and get the fuck out there because people are dying. So I think she shows up and I think she messes some stuff up, but we'll see. She might die too. I would actually be really mad if they killed her off, but I guess she's lived over 100 years and I'll just have to wait for another story.
Well, and let's so I'll pull this article. Let's pull this article up.
The character in the Young Jedi Adventure shows that's in the show.
I think that is her. Let me look that up.
Okay, so this is the Forbes article. And it starts with some promising news about the Acolyte season 2. Excellent.
Nice.
Let's see. I have not been sure about whether the Acolyte is meant to be a mini series or an ongoing production, but now we have some more information about the possible season 2. In a new interview with EW, showrunner Leslie Headland talks about season 2, though what that means for the storyline of season 1 if it does happen. It's interesting to see her philosophy, which she says echoes another famous show. I think you should put everything you can into the first season and give the audience a nice resolution that feels satisfying, but enough nods to mystery that you would want to see a second season. I remember reading the Vince Gillian in writing and doing the first season of Breaking Bad. Really didn't plan on we're getting 7 more seasons, and this is what's going to happen to Walter White. It was much more, here's everything we got, and we're throwing everything at the wall. And then with the pickups, he mapped out, okay, here's what's going to happen over the course of however many seasons. So
that's cool.
Yeah, that is, but that I feel like that's correct. A correct way to go at a first season, right? Give it everything you got because you want everybody to be involved. She goes on to talk about a few things that season 2 would contain in vague terms, of course. There are 4 to 5 major mysteries and plot points that season 2 would contain. She talks about how character development needs to hit certain she talks about how character development needs to hit certain points in second, third, or fourth seasons, though none of this has been worked out already. She talks about cortosis, the metal that can deflect and short out lightsabers, which she says is a finite resource, which is why we don't see it carry into the future of the universe. And we would learn more about it in season 2.
Beautiful.
She says we will not learn too much about Quimir's backstory this season, but says that we will understand that he wants freedom on a second level. Ooh, that's what we're talking about, which would be explored in season 2 beyond just the fact that he wants to wield his power however he wants. She also seems to confirm that he's definitely a Sith, which was up for debate, but the idea is that he has to murder all the Jedi to keep that information from getting out. And only 3 people are left alive with that information, the twins and Soul. Uh-oh.
Yeah, and he says as much. He says that they
Yep,
have
he
to
says
die.
that exact thing.
So he himself also confirms that he is a Sith.
Okay. While the Acolyte has sparked a lot of hate from the contingent of Star Wars fans who believe it's too woke and has broken canon, there is no evidence of this. It has amassed many fans who would be excited to see a season 2. I have been unsure of its trajectory before this, but the last episode convinced me I want to see more. Mainly Chimere, a lot more of him. He rules. So, in this nice Forbes article, and I'm sure there's some banter in the chats section. Look, the idea of a season 2, I like it. I'm digging the show so far. There's so many. No, it's not, but they get access to the interview. I want to hear what's going on. They're not giving me any interviews. You want to give me an interview, bring that shit on. I'll sit there and dissect everything they have to say. But if they're going to give an interview to Forbes because Disney is a Fortune 500 company, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so he's a Sith. Great. Now, where are we going from here? We will see. Tomorrow night, another big episode. I'm hoping that we're finally going to get to see some backstory on what happened at the Witch's Temple. I'm hoping we get to see more on Kofar. And I'm really curious where this goes because the show looks, I don't give a shit about what Rotten Tomatoes says. I give 0 fucks about what Rotten Tomatoes says.
0 fucks given.
Rotten Tomatoes, like, look, I judge these Star Wars projects based on what I hear out from the Muggles. Okay, the Muggles are gonna tell me what I need to know, and what have I heard from the Muggles, and what have I heard from the Muggles so far is that they're digging this shit. That's what I've been hearing from the Muggles. I'm getting more phone calls from my Muggle friends saying, "What do you think? What do you think? Tell me about this. What is this shit?"
It's weird.
That's a real
how,
rating on the page.
The Acolyte and Andor are a real hit with Muggles than actual Star Wars fans.
They really are, because
You notice that?
Muggles don't have expectations. They're just down for the ride.
You know what it is? It's not I like to picture my Muggle as the person who is somewhat educated but not super sweaty.
Sure.
Because a casual Star Wars fan, the worst to me, because they want to believe one really good solid thing that they have knowledge of and ignore all the other shit that's attached to that one thing that they're really good at knowing about.
Right.
But the casual, like Muggle, like you're saying, person who's just there to enjoy the show, those are the people that they're like really targeting. New Star Wars fans, kids.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much kids with this show, but like we're growing up. We've been growing up in this fandom, so a lot of it's for us too. You know.
Well, and they listened. I mean, there's
I think they have been listening.
Well, they have been listening, but they really listened. And Dan's gone.
Mm-hmm.
But they really listened this time, right? I mean, they really got us out of the Star Wars era. We want some cool fight scenes. We want a cool villain. You're taking us out of a timeline. Sure, the lightsabers are fatter. Sure, the enemy is really fucking cool. But ultimately, I'm digging everything about this right now. I can't think of, I mean, Rotten Tomatoes was review bomb before the show aired. Corporate only pays attention to, honestly, I go out in the world and I have everybody ask me, what about this and what's this? And do you know about this and what's going on here? And oh, this is awesome. And that looked cool. And it's every Tuesday. Every Tuesday night I get text messages. So I'm not hating on anything because everything that I'm seeing is fun. And if you're nitpicking the story and if cortosis doesn't ring a bell in your flavor, then I guess you weren't a fan of the OT or of the OGEU shit either. So maybe you weren't a fan of the Lucas era stuff either, because that came around during the Lucas era stuff. And it's in the Old Republic, if you really want to break it down. So I don't want to be shitty about it, but maybe
Maybe do your homework. Maybe do a little bit of research. Maybe do your fucking
You can
homework.
research.
You haven't said that in a
Research.
while here.
so. I'm just saying, like, don't come here with that weak shit. Don't come here with these weak arguments without precedent, without cause, because this is where you come with receipts and facts. If you want to talk in this arena, you come with facts. And this is absolutely probably one of my favorite shows of the year. Like, all around, I'm digging it a lot. I've been watching House of the Dragon, fire ass shit, good stuff. I've watched a lot of other stuff this year, and I gotta say, so far, I'm digging this the most right now. Like, I can't lie, man. This has been top tier shit. Like, I see where all $180 million of this shit's going. This shit
I think there's big
polished.
surprises coming too. Man.
Maria said
we haven't seen
that this
shit,
shit was
really.
at a 5 out of 10 just now.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Maria and I have talked in excess about her feelings on the show. But again, you got to wait till the final product's out. If you rate these shows episode by episode, you're going to be disappointed, right? If there's one thing that I've noticed from Disney is that they don't know how to shoot TV shows. They know how to shoot movies and then they edit them into TV shows. So you get a better experience when you binge the entire season at once rather than the week to week breakdown, because then you have a week.
Damn sure what I'm going to do. Binge this shit.
And that's the best way to watch it, to be honest, because these shows, Kenobi, the tempo is that of a movie. You've been in the arts, the tempo is everything. Perfection is unattainable. And if you're shooting it at the tempo of a movie, when you get in the edit bay, it's hard to find endpoints. It's hard to find places to break the episode leading up to the next episode, right? And so the edit gets tough when you shoot them like a movie. And unfortunately, they shoot it like a movie with 5 directors. These shows should be directed, as much as I hated Robbie Rod's iteration of Boba Fett, they need to do more like they do with a movie. Give it to one director. If you want assistant producers, if you want assistant writers, other people on the show, great, give them another title. But Leslie should be directing every fucking episode, right? This is part of the problem with these shows, is you shoot it like a movie, but if there's 8 episodes, there's 8 directors on this one movie. It's a shitty way to shoot episodics. So if you're going to shoot the damn thing like a movie, Leslie should be directing every fucking frame, right? The director should be consistent through the show if you're going to shoot it like a movie. End of story.
The chat's unhinged. I'm getting triggered. We got to go.
What are they saying?
We're comparing. Maria's comparing tits and ass to Disney. What is going on?
Well, but
I seen that. I'm like,
Like,
damn,
what the hell is
Maria,
going
this
on?
ain't House of the
Tits and
Dragon,
ass.
ain't
That's
Star
why
Wars,
people watch
baby.
it.
That's a
Don't
whole
watch
different
that shit
network,
with the
baby.
dragon.
A whole different network.
What HBO gets away with. Look, and you can't compare. Okay, we're back to this shit again. Okay, you guys,
we're comparing tits, ass, people falling in
you
love with dragons.
You compare Andor to Ahsoka. You compare Andor to this show. You can't compare the Gilroy brothers who wrote the Bourne shit to this. You cannot compare it. Those guys are legit, right? The dialogue in Andor was so good because the Gilroys can fucking write movies.
And I'm pushing back. No, HBO is not more than Game of Thrones and House of Dragon. There is nothing else. Like once every 6 months, I re-up. Like I'll watch it for this show and then I'll deactivate my subscription. There is nothing else coming out.
I
on
ain't
HBO.
gonna hold you because fuck The Last of Us and fuck.
Last of Us was pretty good.
No, I don't like that they just pretty much adapted the game. I wish they would have cast Mahershala Ali as the main guy and the person that they're casting for season 2 as Ellie, but it's whatever.
Okay, but okay, here's my
no.
question. And Maria, this goes to you, this goes to Dan, this goes to everybody in the chat. Who is to blame? HBO or Sony? Because Sony produced it. HBO distributes it. So who's to blame here? Because
Wherever
Gran
the
Turismo
platform is gets to blame. Wherever the platform, HBO.
Because Gran Turismo was fucking fire.
Was Gran Turismo on HBO?
No, but it's a Sony product.
Man, Sony can kiss my left nut. They gave me Madam Web, Morbius, and Venom. Fuck out of here.
What about Uncharted? You didn't like Uncharted? Sony product.
Fuck no, I didn't like Uncharted either. That shit sucked. With Tom Holland? No.
So you don't like any video game adaptation that they've done?
Not from Sony, no. Unless the only thing that I genuinely love from Sony is the Raimi trilogy. That's it.
Okay. I mean, you're not a fan of Venom?
The first Venom was okay. Oh, and the Miles Morales movies. I do like the Across the Spider-Verse movies.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you seen Gran Turismo?
I feel like I have. That's the racing movie, right? With
yeah.
David Harbour.
The true story of the sim racers.
I started to watch it, didn't finish it, but I meant to.
It is honestly like the CGI in that movie, in the moments that they take and bring the car together around him, are brilliant. They're just fucking brilliantly illustrated. And then the sounds, because look, I played these games when I was a kid. I played Gran Turismo. I remember the sounds of like where you're at, you know, all those sounds, just like the Mario games, triggered all those nostalgic shit that lives in here, you know. But that one, I mean, I just watched that again today. In fact, I think I finished watching it this morning. There's a lot, but you can't compare the writings of George R.R. Martin to the writers in Acolyte, right? Those are two very different things going on, right? You're talking about the story of Fire and Ice that's been in book form for however long that they adapted to make Game of Thrones. Then they take another book from the same writers and make that into a screenplay for House of the Dragon. If you can't compare those two with the writers from Acolyte. I'm sorry. They're two different. They're on two different
We
teams.
got to get back to arguing with our friends Matt Cave Maria and Skywalker's Academy. They're cooking down there. Let's see.
All right, let's see what's going on. So Matt Cave says Neil Druckmann, the creator of the Lord. No, what was that?
The Last of Us.
The Last of Us.
Thank you. I hate when they purposely made changes to the show because he couldn't tell it the way in the game. Okay. So
like Dave Filoni did.
Like George Lucas did with his remasters.
Oh, so like Star Wars does every time they retcon something.
Let's see. Skywalker Academy. It's not Disney. It's just Lucasfilm. Disney tells them make money, make our platform work. That's not how Star Wars and the MCU was designed. They were designed for movies. Well, I mean, you could argue that the MCU was designed for comic books, but
I mean, phases 1 through 3 were fine, but what the fuck they're doing?
Sony has the
now
most zero to do other
not
than
it.
rights for The Last of Us. Okay. Rebels and the Clone Wars work because they just tell a story. The movie stories and the misdirection are all at once viewing. Well, it's a different style of storytelling, but okay. You're talking about the biggest franchise in the effing world with smaller budgets, right? But you're also talking about a company that has been putting out television content, episodic television content, for longer than Disney has been in the Star Wars game. I'm sorry. You're talking about
Sorry, not sorry. Mind you.
sorry,
Don't
not
forget.
sorry. You're talking about Entourage. You're talking about, I mean,
All
could-
the shows you can name that are hit shows on HBO have been hit shows since 2015. Their new shit is not banging. Their new
Yeah.
shit is the comic
2015,
book
damn
shit.
it.
Their
15,
new
good
shit
year.
is the comic,
Good year.
like the fantasy shit. I'm just saying, like all these, The Wire, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Chernobyl, they're all old shows. I don't know, man.
I just started watching The Wire. So fucking good. So good.
Yep. They're old shows that have been like tried and true. I don't see HBO doing anything that's like
well, I mean,
mind-blowing other
they
than the
tried to
stuff that
jump
we're
in on
talking
the
about with Game of Thrones.
I mean, Game of Thrones is
I'm
their
hyped for
hit.
Penguin, like this new Matt Reeves universe. Kudos to them
But
for
again,
getting that.
DC's another one with a multiverse issue. This is the part of these universes I
Gotta
can't
love
get
that
down on
multiverse,
because
man.
I just can't, man. There's too many iterations of everybody. You can't keep it all in line. Man, there's too many of
You
them.
have your Matt Reeves fans over here. You got your David
That's
Corn
it.
Sweat fans over there.
You
Your
got your
Henry
Snyder
Cavill fans
Cut,
over here.
you got
What's not to love, baby?
You got your Jack, your
Chernobyl came out 5 years ago.
I mean,
Old.
yeah, no, I agree. No, I
Said no multiverse in the Star Wars, and they said
You gonna put some respect in my goddamn World Between Worlds, damn it. Fuck all y'all.
yeah. I mean, look, it's well, see, and I don't like this either. I don't like that shit either.
I love it because it's gonna take all this hate and vitriol that Star Wars is getting and push that shit over there.
I mean,
y'all go over to Harry Potter.
I mean, they already met. Look,
And you get Adam Driver as Snape. You can't be that. Can't be that.
Warner Brothers already messed up my Harry Potter, so I'm already hurt. I still have scars from that shit. I said it in the movie theater. I say it every time I watch that trash.
That's why they're taking their time to do it the right way on television,
man,
my son.
They burned that bitch for me, man. You can't have the last scene of the Harry Potter movie in the Harry Potter books where Harry Potter is more concerned with the wand and he breaks the wand in half before he fixes his own wand. Man, that's some bullshit right there. That's some of that Mickey Mouse bullshit.
Master Wizard.
Right
there. Man, go play Hogwarts Legacy. Sit down.
World Between Worlds is fine. It's not a multiverse. In fact, that's exactly the point of it.
That's the fucking problem. It should be, because all the what ifs on YouTube are fire. Fire.
Yes, but at the same time, it's not a multiverse because the time here's the thing. The Ahsoka timeline puts that in perfect perspective. If she was taken out of time and then goes with Ezra, that creates a paradox, right? That creates a different, could potentially a different timeline if you want to use the MCU as a STEM timeline. The fact that she knows that she has to go back to her time, she understands that this is not that. She has to go back where she belongs in time, right? So she goes back to the temple right as Vader is leaving. That's where time puts her. The World Between World was used as an opportunity to not only teach a lesson, but to save a character, right? That they wanted to use for more down the road. And so he didn't take her out of time and take her to the future. She stepped out of her moment in the timeline and immediately stepped right back in. So
the fact that you can mess with time by doing that. There is a future that you can go to if you choose. You just haven't played with that era of time yet, because they've established that. Okay, yes, okay. You don't see variants of Ahsoka. You don't see any multiverse. No. That's fine. But if you're talking about time and going, and we've just seen stuff from the past and the Clone Wars and all that, there is a time portal that you can look at in the future. Then, by that logic.
True, but at the same point, Ahsoka makes a very good point in that moment. If you pull Kanan out of that moment in time, you all die, right? And so with time, in that moment, she understands that if you do this, all of you will die, and which means
Right.
this doesn't happen, right? Like she understands the way that this place works. Maybe that's because of Morai's influence. Maybe that's because of her time on Mortis. I don't really know, but she understands that pulling him out of that moment in time creates a paradox that could destroy everything, right?
Then
And that's how,
again, Dave did cut some content with Anakin showing Ahsoka him fighting her on Mustafar. Said that's a multiverse because
well,
that
I
never
mean,
happened.
he never showed it though. When
I
did
know
he
because
show
it
her?
got cut. Yeah.
Right, because that could that's what I'm saying. The break now, if Anakin and her were looking through a portal at what could have been,
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
story,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But the fact that that he can only be there because he's already dead, right? If he was
Mhm.
alive, he could be there without a way in, right? So
Mhm.
like there's a lot of how did she get there? Did Anakin do this? There's a lot of that shit that we don't really know, that they
Well,
haven't really
she's
gone
part
through.
daughter too.
Right. So there's a lot of like, how did this whole Anakin
Yeah.
thing happen? But at the end of the day, the world between world is not a place that you can alter the timeline. But this almost feels like you remember Doc Brown talking about if the two Martys see each other or the two Docs see each
Mhm.
other, it could create a paradox that could basically end the universe, right?
Mhm.
So the best idea of time is that the same matter cannot occupy the same space at the same time,
Mhm.
right? So if you touch yourself in the past, it could implode the universe because that matter cannot sustain each other at the same time in the same space, right? That's the idea of time travel, and that's what a paradox is about. So technically, if you pull Kanan out of that moment, everything dies, right? Because your future is then exhausted, right? You're burnt out of existence because you died in that moment with Kanan. So
Right.
she understands that for whatever reason, whether it's the daughter's influence, whether it's Morai, that information is in her or whatever reason. But or was it the time she spent away searching to get more information on the Force, whatever. There's a lot that goes into that world between worlds without breaking time.
Sure.
And Dave took it
Oh no,
really,
absolutely.
really slow to and methodically made it so that time frame didn't break anything in both instances in the world between worlds, right? So, and that's
But
why
damn
keeping
it, if you haven't seen What If Darth Vader used the world between worlds to say Padme, oh my god,
But
that shit is so good. I'm
but if
sorry,
you
but it's just too good.
but that's the
So good.
point. That's why Ezra's journey is so important, right? That's why the Rebel story is so important, because Ezra's the one that kept Palpatine from using it for that, right? Because if Palpatine gets in, he saves Anakin, he changes the future or tries to, right? And so
What
that's
if
that,
Palpatine saves himself? Yep.
or saves
Mhm.
himself, right? Or whatever. I mean, he at this point he doesn't know his own future, so maybe he could see what his future is going to be and avert it, whatever. But that's the point of that
Yeah.
whole arc, is that you have to keep Palpatine out of here because he can change shit. He's going to try to change shit, and that could end the universe. That could end the galaxy, right? And so
That's why he wanted to keep him back because in return. And he needed Ezra to
right.
prevent that. Who knows? Maybe he wanted immortality, but Palpatine wanted to keep getting in. Mhm.
Yeah, he was trying a lot to get in, and that's just it. That's the whole point, is that the keeper of the world between worlds after Anakin's return is
Mhm.
him, because he was meant to be the father initially. He turned down his initial destiny, and his destiny found him after death, right? I mean, that's end up checkmate, but you
Right.
can't use it in the same way as the multiverse. You can't use it the same way that Captain America used the quantum tunnel to grab infinity stones. It's not the same. There aren't stems. This is one solid timeline across Star Wars. And it should be like that, because otherwise you run into this. Otherwise you become DC and have the problems that DC has right now. How many Supermen have there been? How many Batman have there been? How many Aquamans have there been? How many Green Lanterns? They're going to do another Green Lantern now, right? How many times can you reboot because there's a multiverse that allows it, right? How many times can you have another person, another celebrity playing another superhero, another iteration? It just gets old.
Iteration.
That's why it sucks, because there's no definitive Batman. Kilmer, Bale, Keaton, right? Affleck.
There have been multiple Batman.
Right? You can't. I mean, now we're into Supermans.
Multiple
right?
Jokers.
Now we're what, on the
So
third
give me multiple
Superman?
Black Panthers.
Right? Why
Yeah, but
can't
that's
we
a
have
different
different? Thank you. And that's another
getting
argument the
multiple
MCU
Balin's
guys
gold.
won't let go. You can't recast T'Challa,
Well,
right? Like,
exactly. So it's like you can have one without the other. Yeah, that's fucking
so
stupid.
that's why Star Wars. That's why I agree with the simplicity of the Star Wars timeline. Right? It's one.
However, I do want to check out the timeline of a variant Leonardo DiCaprio Anakin.
Okay.
I mean, look,
I'm in there.
I'm just glad Hayden's back. I want a Looper sequel.
Yeah.
I want a sequel to Looper, right? I want so many things from Hayden, right? Like there's so much opportunity with Hayden right now. I'm so glad he's back in the fold. I'm so glad he's willing to come back in Ahsoka season 2, play more Anakin. Have that talk I don't want Anakin and Luke to have, right? I really don't want to see those.
Hayden and Natalie are prime Anakin and Padme ages to return.
Well, and it would be great for Natalie to play the villain.
I think so.
It would be so much fun to see her play the villain, right? That's the only reason I think it would be fun if she was Abeloth, right? Or if she transformed into,
such a good
form
idea,
that
right?
Abeloth takes. Like, I'm about it. I'm all in.
Let's do it.
Honestly, Natalie Portman has aged brilliantly. Like,
she looks the same to me.
She looks exactly the same. Like, put some little bit of makeup on, give her that young edge jawline, and let's go, right? Like, whatever you got to do, man. Give her a little bit of makeup and put her back on the big screen. Okay. Last question. How hot is it where you guys are?
Very. Georgia is unstably hot.
Scotty said it was like 54 degrees the other day where he was.
Dude, it's insane. We had a heat wave and like literally
I wish I knew what 54 degrees was. Outside. I was just in Detroit and
I know what 54 degrees Celsius feels like.
Like 78, 80.
It hasn't felt like summer 60, yet one 70. Bit, actually.
Well, I'll tell you what, it is on nuclear out here right now. So
I believe it.
Enjoy your nice weather out there while you can before it gets snowy again. Look, I'm excited. I was excited before Acolyte. I'm excited now. I'm excited for Skeleton Crew. I'm excited for Ahsoka season 2. I'm excited for everything that's coming. Again, we continue here. I continue to be the beacon of hope and the beacon of light. I know, right? That is in the darkness of Star Wars. There's a lot of negative clicks out there. There's a lot of negative energy running around. There's a lot of people that are all over Twitter posting more of us, less.
Precisely why I'm staying
There's
away.
more of us. There's less of them. We are one. We are Batman. I am Groot. There's all this shit out there. Look, I'm going to say the same thing I always say. If you don't like something, don't watch it. If you're negative about talking about it, do you, if that's what you want to do. But ultimately, we're going to continue to try to be a beacon for the positive here in this space. And I honestly, like, there's like 2 or 3 complaints in the Acolyte so far. There haven't been very many. So I'm excited. There's more to come. I'm trying to do more. We're going to try to do some more stuff.
You know,
can't
the other
say-
thing that's crazy is like we literally don't know how they've been traveling. We have no idea how Chimere and May
Yeah.
have been getting around. We don't know what his ship looks like. We don't know anything. So I can't wait to just see inside the homie ship. Like,
But I'd say, assume it's the ship. Move along. Move along.
No,
Yeah.
they're riding Purgle, bro. They're riding
oh
Purgle.
hell
Oh,
yeah.
it's all
Let's
about the
go.
space whales.
They're
Yeah.
space whales, bro. They're riding Purgle like the old witches of Dathomir.
Woo!
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of good Star Wars going on right now. I understand there's a lot of hate in the universe. I understand there's a lot of bullshit running around, but ultimately the idea with Star Wars is to have fun, is to enjoy yourself and try not to let it ruin your day. So with that, I think we're gonna jam and do our thing. I didn't see the Matt Cave come by tonight, but maybe next time. I know he got busy. I know Maria got busy.
Yeah, I
But,
got like 1%
but
left.
I was
so
excited
I
to
got
have Dan here because we haven't seen Dan in a while.
Yes.
So thank you, Dan, for hanging out. Like I said, when you need anything, you let me know, as always. So be safe
You
in
know
the
I
interim.
got you.
As always, my
Yeah.
my cohort in crime, Scotty is here. What do you got going on? You got I saw a new thumbnail, right?
Yeah, GTA is gonna start gearing up here a little bit more. I am and like if you guys watched Sons of Anarchy and you were interested in the motorcycle MC lifestyle, like I'm living it out in RP. I'm a hang around right now, so I got no cut. I'm the bitch. I'm running errands. I've got tasks because there's actually people in city wearing the cuts that shouldn't be. So it's getting interesting. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm
Got
gonna
to
start.
chop him up.
I'm gonna
And he
start
talks Star
pulling
Wars
guns
while
on
he's
people.
doing it sometimes. So
Yeah.
Remember, follow the kid at DLinch47 on Instagram to follow the movie film journey.
yeah, get
Y'all
over
should
there
be
and follow
following his
Dan stuff.
Instagram.
Get over there and get your Matt Cave mug or Matt Cave cup. Everything out of that tastes better. Get over to Scotty's channel, support him, follow him, get on those because it's fun. It's fun watching
GTA
him
role play, baby.
in the role play. It's fun.
Yep.
He's having a good time. So
A lot of good actors. A lot of good actors show up in my stream, so it's not just me. There's like a good 100 people. All of them are good. All of them are really good.
I mean, you guys, if you haven't watched any of the GTA, people are legit like mechanics and like bartenders and have like legit jobs and shit in GTA. It's ridiculous.
Yep,
It's like
it's so good.
precursor to Ready Player One. So
So we own the strip club too. Come through.
yeah, he's all into it, bro. So get over there, check out some of the role play Scotty's doing. As always, don't forget, help the pet population under control, spay and neuter your pets. Also, don't forget to tell the people in your life how you feel today. You never know, tomorrow may not come, and you got to get that shit out today. So make sure you say what you got to say, when you got to say it, how you got to say it. And as always, everybody, try to have a good week. Try to enjoy the Acolyte tomorrow night. It's 6:00 Pacific time, 9:00 Eastern. Make sure to get out and watch it. If you're not watching it, get on one of the streams where they're reacting to it and watch parties and all that shit. I can't do it. I can't let you guys see me cry on stream. And so with Master Soul,
The Yord Horde.
I
The Yord
could cry.
Horde.
The Lord Horde. The Yord Horde might get you. The Lord Horde Yord. But yeah, everybody have a great night. Thank you guys for coming by and hanging out. As always, we'll see you next Monday, barring any craziness. But we always come and do a night before stream to kind of get it out and talk about it. We will definitely break down the next episode at nauseum, but there were 2 to cover and it's just too much to go through. We would have been here for 3 hours, 4 hours. So get out there, watch the show. Let us know what you think. Get down in the comments. Get out and subscribe. Like everybody here. Like and subscribe everybody that's in the chat. As always, thank you guys for being here. We're going to